Listen to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett First Arcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horseman, Garvin Bogey, Magnum Dusty, Express Tag Team. Turner bought in Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and Friends North they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off center stage. Bischoff, Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a chant. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when?
WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
How are you, Conrad? What's going on with you in Alabama?
Man, I am hanging out like a hare in a biscuit. It was a great weekend this past weekend. Lots of playoff NFL football. And then, we saw the championship game on Monday night. College football is coming to an end. Do you miss college football when it's gone? I know Georgia Bulldog athletics is a big part of your life. Do you miss it when it's gone?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to tell you why. And I was thinking about this the other night when I was went to Auburn for a basketball game. You know how I feel about Auburn.
Sure.
And the fans are just, and of course it's students mostly, but the fans are just so bad.
Mm.
And I'm not blaming Auburn fans. I'm blaming any college fan that goes to college. They're just terrible. They're vulgar. They don't have good sportsmanship, and they always make that announcement. Make sure you display good sportsmanship in tonight's game. And most of the students say, okay, well, fuck that. And it's grated on me over the years. So I'm kind of glad when it's all over. And I could take a break, and by the time the new season will start around Labor Day, I'll be ready for it again. But it just and I don't want to seem be a holier than thou guy, but the piss poor sportsmanship that we have in this country just grates on me. It really does.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for us to shit on some people on today's show with good sportsmanship. Sold Out 2000. I'm sure you're going to be glad this one's over when we're done too. Not the best year for WCW. They're going to lose more money than any wrestling company in history this year. And we're going to get things started with Sold Out 2000 from January 16th. So as you're listening right now, tomorrow is the 20-year anniversary of this show. Tony, should we shake her? Should we wake her? Should we bake her? What should we do with your fair maiden?
Well, my fair maiden is not around. She's in New York, New Jersey, with the grandchild, spending a week there. So I told her, get on out of here.
And the show is Sold Out 2000. Fire it up on your WWE network. I guess since she's not here and you're about to get your motherfucking roll on, then we should go ahead and do a little countdown. Do you want to do it in her absence?
I'll do it in her absence. I can't wait. You ready?
Yep.
Huh? You ready?
Yep.
That's it. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Well, this logo signifies the downturn of WCW, doesn't it?
It does.
Man, but look at the crowd. Still into us. In Cincinnati, Ohio.
Ohio.
And the signs are out. The people are jam-packed. The people are excited. But you know what? Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and Bobby the Brain Heenan, if I recall, are going to take quite a while at the beginning of this show to try to explain why we had a lot of no-shows in this show and why we had to rebook the show. This is your classic clusterfuck of a beginning of a pay-per-view.
Woof.
Now, hi, everybody. Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, Bobby the Brain Heenan. I'm leaning over because, boy, what a day we've had. We have been all fucked up. We have no idea who is booked on this show. What we had booked on this show earlier in the week has now been unbooked. A couple of injuries, a couple of no-shows, a couple don't give a fucks, but that's the way it is. Now, let's take a look at some of the things that we're going to have. As a matter of fact, we're going to take a look, if you'll recall, Mike, today, at Goldberg kicking the head off of Bret Hart. That's right, Tony. Breaking the head off of, kicking the head off of Bret Hart. It happened, and it makes the change of this main event into something else. Now, we had a change earlier in the day at 8 o'clock, and then they changed it at 9 o'clock. By 9:30, they say we may change it again. Well, he didn't. Let's take a look at what we're talking about. Here is the kick that was heard all around the world. That's pretty fucking awesome, isn't it, Conrad? Or bad?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about, how much this show has changed from when it was originally, put together to now. Mm-hmm. And it's even the headline of the Wrestling Observer. They called it the most tumultuous 4-day period in recent history of World Championship Wrestling. Started with WCW getting the word out that an injury would cause champion and main eventer Bret Hart to miss the Souled Out pay-per-view. And as dominoes started falling one by one, it ended with a new booker, the crowning of a new champion who asked to be released from his contract anyway, and his vacating the title voluntarily some 18 hours later, and possibly with several wrestlers leaving the company. For Bill Bush, who was running WCW, this week will probably become his sink or swim week as far as what the end result regarding his respect both in and out of wrestling based on his handling of a chaotic situation, which was still ongoing at press time. It's pretty remarkable when you think about everything that happened leading to this pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett gets a concussion. Bret Hart has a concussion. Chris Benoit and the Radicals are trying to leave. I believe so is Conan and Shane Douglas. Whew. Lots of moving and shaking in this one, baby.
Yeah, and they depended on us, as you're looking at us right now. He didn't go through his paper. They depended on us to try to tell the entire stories and try to make some sense and try to make it all seem, logical, which was very difficult to do. And as I watched most of the show in prep for this, and at the end of this long open that we had, explaining everything with B-roll and with graphics and everything, Mike Tenay said, "Woo, we did it, Tony. We got through it." And it was really a challenge for us.
Look at this terrible graphic, by the way. Yeah,
it's terrible. It looks like something from, as you would find on a tombstone.
8th grade PowerPoint.
8th grade PowerPoint. And that's probably all we could afford at that time. So they were showing the changes, but they depended on that. We really had our work cut out for us at the beginning of the show to try to explain all the different things that were going to go down in the show. And I think fans were confused. I'm sure many were upset. I'm sure many were just rolling their eyes saying, well, that's what we come to expect with WCW. But I think this is just another nail in the coffin for us. Because I always say that if you book something and you don't deliver, regardless of it is an injury or whatever it is, you're fucked. No shows are the worst thing that can happen in the business.
Real life. How much were you missing Eric Bischoff by this point?
Real life, I was missing him a lot. When he first left the company, it was kind of a relief because he was getting on all of us and I knew he was upset. But then after he left, I thought, ooh. And I like Bill Bush, and Bill and I got along. As you know, I try to get along with everybody. But Bill he was a bean counter. He had no creative juices.
Backstage, we see Vampiro catching a beatdown from Crowbar and a couple of open hand slaps from the Nature Boy's loins, David Flair.
All right, so we've gone about 5 minutes into the show right now. And we still don't have a match. We're still trying to explain the card, which is, it's not the right thing to do, but in light of what is going on here, it is the right thing to do.
What's interesting about this too, I don't know that we've stressed this enough. Billy Kidman's going to wrestle 3 times on this show. You saw the graphic earlier, Triple Threat Theater. We got 3 Billy Kidman matches on this same pay-per-view. As a reminder, the reason I brought up Eric Bischoff, he's been gone for 4 months and 1 week. He went home on September 10th, 1999. Of course, we're here January 16th, 2000. Almost immediately, they would slide, Vince Russo into that spot in October. And you see how long that lasted. Here we've already got everybody's upset and wanting to make some changes. And yes, there's going to be a cruiserweight match between Medusa and Oklahoma. This is real life.
Well, that's entertainment, right?
Well, we're going to find out.
Let me say this. The Oklahoma character was obviously a knock on Jim Ross, because I don't think that I may be wrong. I don't think JR, you know him from the podcast. I don't think he got along that well with Vince Russo.
He did not.
And so I think that was just Vince Russo's way of trying to get back. So now we're finally getting some sort of match 6 minutes into this.
Here's the thing. Russo, right after he leaves, he thought everybody was sort of jockeying for position and, out to get him and whatever.
Right.
Since then, I think, he's a different guy, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. And I think that him and JR are just fine. But
yeah, they are. They are just fine.
But obviously this idea was less than awesome and was hurtful, not just to JR, but to Jim's wife. And I think that's probably the part that, he struggles with is he's like, it's wrestling. They're just, fucking assholes, whatever.
Right.
But when there's family involved asking questions, man, that puts you in a bad spot.
Yeah, it did. But, as the company guy, I was going to go ahead and do whatever they wanted to do. And we'll talk more about it. The bad part about the whole Oklahoma thing was they kind of made fun of the Bell's palsy. The good thing about the whole Oklahoma thing was that Ed Ferrara was so talented and so funny. And that's what made it entertaining. Okay, here we go. First match for Kidman. Yeah. Against Dean Malenko, our old buddy.
A catch-as-catch-can match. It's only going to go a couple minutes here. We should mention, by the way, that Jim Cornette's major issue with Russo really came to a head because of this Oklahoma character.
Oh, really?
That Russo felt like, he could do that, just annoyed the shit out of Cornette, and he would say, I'm going to slap the shit out of him or something like that, because he mocked a friend of mine. And that's the reason there were threats of slaps and spits and everything in between, if memory serves.
Okay.
By the way, this match is described as 2 minutes and 36 seconds of a total screw up. Mm-hmm. Meltzer would say this was billed as a catch-as-catch-can match. Originally, the ropes were to be taken down for this match, but I guess they decided against it. But the rules remain: the first man to leave the ring and hit the floor loses. They're doing some good wrestling when Malenko had a mental lapse and went out of the ring. Tony Schiavone, doing the announcing, said that Malenko had left the ring, so he'd lost the match. But then they went back in the ring like nothing happened. Schiavone was making the point over and over, and you could see referee Charles Robinson get the word the match had already been declared over by the announcers, and he reluctantly rang the bell and declared Kidman the winner. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen, on a motherfucking pay-per-view.
Yes, we are. This is where we are.
And in fairness, here's the thing. It's easy for everybody to point the finger at Malenko here, who is a consummate professional and one of the all-time greats when it comes to being an in-ring tactician and obviously a multi-generational wrestler. But if the ropes were down, it would be hard for him to forget. You know what I mean? Like, if this was promoted as we're going to remove the ropes and make it a quote unquote legitimate wrestling match, and out of bounds is out of the ring, there's no chance he's jumping out of the ring. But here you get lost in the heat of the moment, and it's just another silly stipulation. And that's it. That's the end of the match. But Kidman maybe has forgotten it. Certainly Dean Malenko has forgotten it. And now maybe Kidman's smartening him up, saying, hey, that's the end.
Well, one thing I do remember is that when he rolled out and started walking towards the entranceway, again, we're not always told of what's going to happen.
Sure.
He's walking towards the entranceway. I'm thinking that's it. He's walking out. And then he comes back in, and I was told in the headset, I was being produced at that time, overly produced, that the match is over. Make sure everybody knows that. So yeah, this is a clusterfuck.
And it's bad because you feel bad for Dean Malenko. When's he ever made a mistake like that?
Yeah. And you could see he mouthed right there to to the referee. I forgot all about it.
But if the ropes were gone, it wouldn't have happened.
Well, you know what? I don't know why they even would have put the stipulation up that put down the ropes, because you put down the ropes, it takes a long time to put them back up.
Well, I think the idea was if the first match on the show starts with them down, then you've just got to crank them up, and you could have done some sort of backstage skit. But obviously when they were formatting the show with all these changes, they just said, oh, it's going to take too much time, leave them up. And then the performers just fucking forgot. And there we go. Dean Malenko, one of the greats, getting paid, thankfully not by the hour, 2 minutes, 36 seconds. And we're done. You see the cage looming above us. And I think we're going to go backstage with Vampiro here.
Yeah, man. I believe it's going to be Scott Hudson back here with him as well. This was one of Malenko's last events, wasn't it, for us? Didn't he leave right after
leaves the next day.
Right.
Tells you to stick it right up your asshole.
Yes, he did. 1, 2, 3. Crowbar goes down from Vampiro. And now Buffkin. I love these signs. What are we doing here? We're supposed to be in the back with.
So it was teased. Give everybody the time cue here. Tell everybody where we are.
Okay. I am at 12:24, 25, 26, 27. A guy in a Red Wings jersey just went by.
The baby blue version. How about that?
Yeah, I know.
So let's keep going and sort of tell you what's going on behind the scenes.
Okay.
I do feel like we should mention that, there's more to it than just Brett and Jarrett are hurt and injured. There is a lot of moving parts here, and I mean a lot. Meltzer would say it started when WCW was told, officially late Thursday or early Friday, that Hart's doctor had diagnosed severe migraines and inability to focus as the result of a severe concussion, and not only ruled out wrestling on the pay-per-view, but even being flown in for TV this week or doing any lifting. Hart was hopeful he would be able to fly to the LA and Vegas tapings of the 24th and 25th, but he knew he couldn't wrestle at either of those shows. And he was scheduled for another exam to determine an estimated time he'd be medically cleared to wrestle. That left WCW in a position without a main event and a world title match to headline the pay-per-view a few days later. Things were compounded when Jeff Jarrett contacted the company on Friday, saying he also had a concussion stemming from taking the splash off the cage from Jimmy Snuka the previous Monday and had water on the brain. So therefore he wouldn't be able to wrestle on his scheduled 3 matches against Chris Benoit. Just like that, the entire meat of the card, which was most likely going to do one of the 2 worst buy rates in company history, was gone. The decision was made to strip Brad of the title and crown a new champ on pay-per-view. And Russo's idea was to do a battle royale or Royal Rumble style match on the show and end with a surprise, Tank Abbott.
Yeeks.
Did you hear that? That they were thinking about making Tank Abbott the fucking champ?
Yeah, I heard that. And who gave a fuck by that time?
Meltzer would say there was a lot of internal unhappiness with Russo's booking and television for many weeks. And the belief was still that he'd have to be given 6 months to prove whether or not his ideas would play out, even though many in upper management were of the opinion his concept of wrestling was not working and wouldn't work. And his quick blow-offs of angles on television was doing pay-per-view and house show business no favors. And there were also complaints that the people featured the most on television during the TV shows, whether they're wrestlers or non-wrestlers, were people who were not going to be on the road, which is killing the house show business compared to the WWF, which would send every able-bodied wrestler on the road. And while the idea of making Abbott champion was not the reason for the demotion, it was symptomatic of destroying the foundation of the product and titles and Russo's change in concept of what pro wrestling is, a concept not favored by those in management who wanted the soap operas in addition to good wrestling match, and felt that was also based on their reaction, what the fans wanted, since management had gotten such little positive fan reaction or positive feedback from the numbers in the product in recent weeks. The second guessing of the decision by Bill Bush to hire him had gone back many weeks, not only due to what most wrestlers in the company felt was Kevin Sullivan trying to get the booking position by constantly pointing out why things weren't working, which in fact, for the most part, they weren't. So an interesting concept here that there is a contingent behind the scenes that says, well, we didn't give Russo enough time. Kevin Sullivan was just out for his job. What say you?
Here's what I say about the whole mess. And as you're reading all this to me and explaining all this to me, it brings back a lot of bad memories, rightfully so, I think. But here's what I think about the whole mess. And here's why I think it worked with the WWE and it didn't work with us. Because there was nobody really in charge. Vince McMahon was in charge of his company. He was the owner. Buck stopped here type thing. But there was nobody really in charge of WCW. You could say Bill Bush, but Bill Bush wasn't really in charge. And that's the type of thing that lends to, I don't know, maybe mutiny or people being upset because they look at Bill Bush and say, he's not my boss. Ted Turner's my boss, or Time Warner's my boss. And that's what Vince would send all the guys on the road because that's the way it was done. He was the boss. And I just think there was a difference in our company back then. No one was really in charge.
Well, and that's going to continue to be the story. Meltzer would write the Abbott decision, as well as the decision to make Oklahoma the cruiserweight champion and not change the tag team titles from David Flair and Crowbar, basically rendering all those belts meaningless, led to a showdown internally on Friday. So 2 days prior to this, there's a big showdown with Russo being removed from his final decision-making position. Russo, who had 21 months left on a 2-year incentive-based contract, was invited to stay with the company as part of a booking committee, which would have included Kevin Sullivan, J.J. Dillon, and Terry Taylor. Bob Mould, who had just quit the company a few weeks earlier because of frustration due to Russo, and he was having philosophical differences of what pro wrestling was, and his ideas were generally not being used. He was also brought back. Kevin Nash, who Bush described as his best friend among the wrestlers, was also given increased power as a liaison of sorts between the wrestlers and management, a decision that was not popular with what appears to be the majority of the roster. Although the heat on Nash was almost non-existent compared to that of Sullivan, even though the company's track record when Sullivan had power was far better than when Nash had power. Roos had not, as of the weekend, declined the offer. The comments he's made during this period would lead to believe that he's leaning heavily towards leaving the company altogether. Both Ferrara and Bill Banks, who Russo brought with him from the WWF to write and put together TV shows, agreed to stay with the company with diminished powers as TV writers, and Ferrara still thought Russo would stay as a member of the committee, but not if Sullivan was on the committee. And Banks asked to be reassigned from writing television to working on the magazine and internet site, but was also talked into staying as a television writer. This is like the Backstage soap opera is better than anything you guys were presenting on TV.
You know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like the NBA right now. The soap operas that happens in the NBA with fans throwing things on the court and players getting in fights and arguments with management. It's much better than the basketball game itself. And it is like a soap opera. And I forgot all about Bill Banks until you brought up his name.
By the way,
wow,
your boy,
which one?
Great close personal friend of the show.
Mm-hmm. Who?
Bruce Pritchard.
Oh,
he had fucking nothing nice to say about Bill Banks a few years ago. And I only met Bill a few times back in the day, and he always seemed to be a really nice guy to me. What was your experience with old Bill?
I got along with Bill Banks fine. I didn't have that much dealings with him. He didn't seem to be very demonstrative. He didn't seem to be very, guy that spoke up a lot. He was kind of quiet, but he was okay. Bruce didn't like him, huh?
Now, Bruce shit on him on a TNA podcast a while back. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago now, but either way.
Is Banks still in the business?
Yeah.
WWE?
He works with your mom. You know about that?
With my mom?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Check it out. Okay. Let's keep it going. Let's talk a little bit about the whole Kevin Nash thing. That's fascinating to me because Nash has been, for better or worse, a lot of people would refer to him as a bit of a politician. Mm-hmm. And when he's described as being the best friend amongst the wrestlers to Bill Bush, how does that strike you?
It strikes me that he was very much maneuvering himself into that position. Kevin Nash, very smart guy. And when Kevin was a part of booking, he was very difficult at times because he always liked to cut up and have a good time. And sometimes I thought, well, we weren't getting enough done with him. And he and I had little words. Not much. We glossed it over. But I just think that Bill Bush was the type of guy who, if you stayed on him, he would make you a vital part of the company. Does that make any sense? He was easily swayed.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's right.
Well, that's what's so fascinating to me is it feels like, backstage it's divided a little bit. Bill Bush is in power. Everybody knows that, things are not going awesome. So lots of finger pointing going around to Vince Russo. I do think that there wasn't enough time to know long-term how any of this would have played out, but certainly what we had seen so far was not very good. But anytime there's a booking change, it feels very abrupt to go, give a guy October, November, December, and now you're out of here. I mean, that's not a lot of time to get anything done. But either way, it's split a little bit. Should it be Russo? Should it be Sullivan? And then once Russo's out of the way, now it's, should it be Nash or should it be Sullivan? And that splits the guys again. And again, I go back to what you said. There was no one boss. Since everybody's sort of jockeying for position, you get these sort of false narratives. And the idea that Kevin Sullivan was going to be bad for the boys is crazy, because Kevin Nash was very, very vital to the things in WCW that worked really well. Specifically, as Eric Bischoff says all the time, quote unquote, booking heat with the NWO, that had Kevin Sullivan's fingerprints all over it, did it not?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Kevin Sullivan booked some of the biggest runs we've ever had. No one can deny that.
And Kevin Nash booked the finger poke of doom.
That's right. I'm taking sides here, but I understand where you're coming from. There was a part during, I'm not so sure when this happened, but there was a time that I went to Bill Bush. I was tired of Schiavoneing it. Okay.
Right.
I went to Bill Bush and I said, Bill, we are rudderless. We are going every which way. And I'm really big into organization and continuity. I really am. And it's something that I work on with AEW a lot too, that what happened on Dynamite, let's make sure we talk about it on Dark. And what are we promoting for next week? And we were just all over the place. There were a lot of little things that went through the cracks. So I went to Bill Bush. I said, Bill, anything I can do to help organize what goes from booking committee to production and what booking committee wants, or Kevin Nash wants, or I can't even remember. It could have been, I don't know who. This was after Russo. I said, I would like to help out. He said, I appreciate you saying that. So we had a TV meeting and he said, Tony, come up here. I want you to sit up here in the front with everybody up here. And I want you to make sure everything's done right. And I'm thinking, oh fuck, here we go. Tony Schiavone is seen as a meddler and a politician, but I just offered my help in organizing because things were just chaotic. And I'm not talking about being a politician. I'm not talking about was chaotic as booking. I'm talking about, for instance, the ropes being down or not being down. That probably was forgotten. It was just probably forgotten. Now, they probably said, now let's not do it because it would take too long, but it was probably forgotten. And, well, sure messed up my day by talking about this shit of a show again.
Well, sorry about that. Let's keep it going though.
Let's keep it going.
Next on the agenda was how to change the card. Numerous plans were thrown around. By Friday night, this is real. Randy Savage, whose contract expired on January 14th, was asked to replace Brett in the main event at the house show in Charleston, West Virginia against Sid Vicious. The plan on Friday afternoon seemed to be to put the title on Ric Flair at the pay-per-view, where Arn Anderson would hit Vicious with an object and give Flair the win in heel fashion, and then bring Hulk Hogan and Savage back to Nitro on the 17th, with Savage as a surprise on the pay-per-view. However, at a meeting with Hulk Hogan, who the original plan seems to be leaning towards before all this, where he'd return for a big singles match with a heel Flair on February 14th in the unopposed Nitro from the Nassau Coliseum, both sides were too far apart on money. Hogan apparently expecting a similar deal to the one Eric Bischoff had cut him, which at one point his marketability did prove to justify. It in no way does today. Savage management were also too far apart on money. Technically, while putting the title on Flair was strongly discussed, including the scenario where Anderson as referee would hit Sid with an object, it was never formally offered to him. And by the end of the day, the plan was decided not to waste the potential of a big quarter hour for Flair's return on Nitro for something that could be hyped for a month, debuting him on a pay-per-view that was going to die no matter what. So the original idea is, let's get Savage. When that doesn't go, okay, we'll get Ric Flair. And when that doesn't go, well, we have to come up with something else. And the original card, which is being promoted everywhere that weekend, because a lot of this stuff was syndicated beforehand and taped ahead of time,
Right.
is Bret Hart and Sid Vicious, and then the 3 Benoit Jarrett matches. And at this point, there's been no announcement made for the show, only that Terry Funk would announce a surprise challenger before the match. And the booking idea at this point went along the lines of Funk would then lose to Kevin Nash, who would take over as commissioner immediately. Then he would announce the top contender as Scott Hall, but it would turn out that Scott Hall was drinking in Orlando. And then Nash would say the number 2 contender gets the shot and declare himself the number 2 contender. And then he would beat Vicious and become the commissioner and the champion. Nash smartly turned that down, feeling with his increased formal power, the last thing he needed to do without the rest of the wrestlers totally resenting him and morale going into the toilet was to become both television commissioner and world champion the very day it was announced he was in power. It's hard to believe that was even suggested, but apparently it was. And the decision was made, we'll go with Benoit, which WCW announced on the website on Saturday, but they didn't give any other update to the card. So if you ordered this pay-per-view based on what you saw on Raw, you had no idea, and you thought, okay, we got Bret and we got Jarrett, and we got a bunch of matches here with Bret and Sid and Jarrett and Benoit. And then if you checked out the website the day before, you realized, okay, all that's out. And now we've got Benoit and Sid for the title, but no other changes announced. And yet somehow the loyalists still bought it. Unbelievable.
It's mixing me up. You just reading all that.
So many moving parts in this. It's hard to keep it all straight. By the way, we talked over a 10-minute and 32 match that got a star and a quarter. Vampiro wins a 3-way over David Flair and Crowbar. Essentially, of course, Crowbar and David Flair were working together, and we're in the back now, and we see Tony Mama Luke talking to Mean Gene. What do you think he's saying here?
Yeah, Mean Gene's saying, hey, you two Mama Lukes and you dumbass over here, here's what I want to know. Which one of you guys have the hose? Which one of you guys have the drugs? I'd like both. Don't you worry about it, Mean Gene. You're going to get fucked. You're going to get some blow. And this dumbass over to my right, who has a podcast. Yeah, I'm Johnny the Bull. We're talking about Disco Inferno over here is a dumbass. He's got a podcast that they shit on him even years later. Well, I may have a big nose. Yeah, you got a big nose, motherfucker. And I tell you what, you may run a shoe show in Las Vegas, but I got the hose and I got the blows to get the fuck out of here. You two, you little bald-headed prick. Do they still, he and Conan still shit on us on their podcast?
Who, Disco?
Yeah.
No. I mean, they may shit on you. Everybody shits on you, but no, I go on their show. I'm good with those guys. In fact, I'm so good with those guys, I'd like to extend you an invite.
An invite?
Yes. You know, the Super Bowl's coming shortly. Did you know about this?
Yeah, I knew it.
It's going to happen on February 2nd.
Yeah, I knew that.
Well, I'm not going, but what I am doing is I'm going to Las Vegas, and I'm going to spend the weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night in Las Vegas. And I'm going to be with Cassio Kidd, Corey Ryan Forrester, and gimmick attorney extraordinaire, Michael Dawkins. I'd like to extend the invite to you as well.
Well, that sounds pretty fucking interesting.
Hypothetically, one of your Dynamite co-hosts may be joining us.
Well, I know who that would be. Let's see.
But by the way, that guy strutting in the ring right there, I think he'll be a part of a very big party that's happening for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw that a few years ago there and I thought, man, that was a good time. We might need to go back and check that out.
Okay. So let me get this right. When is it? February what?
February 2nd is the Super Bowl, but I'll be there the 31st through the 3rd.
Okay.
And you're invited.
I might make that.
Well, it would be tremendous.
I might make that. Because, when we come back, where we're going to be on the 5th.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Absolutely. I might make that. So it'll be you and me and
Cassio, Corey, gimmick attorney Dawkins. So 2 professional comedians. I use that term very loosely. And a gimmick attorney. Again, I use that very loosely. And potentially 2/3 of my childhood voices. And me, the Forrest Gump of wrestling. That's a good time.
That sounds like where do we plan to watch the game? At a casino, at a sports book? Or are we going to watch the game? Are we just going to go out there?
We're definitely going to watch the game. There's a big party that happens at a place.
There's always a big party at a place.
It's called
Vegas.
It's called Sapphire. Disco works there.
Oh, so there'll be a party there.
Godfather works at another place that has a big party that we've been invited to. And I don't know, just feels like it'd be a good place to watch the big game. I've done it before.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of trouble for an old man like me.
Well, here's the thing. You got to appreciate, I think the game out there kicks off at like 3:30 their time. So
yes, it does.
You could be in bed by 8:30. You wouldn't miss anything. You'd be on your same old man routine.
All right.
And it's worth mentioning, if you'd like to see Tony with or without a hangover, just come on in to Stand Up Live on February 5th. It'll be here before you know it. Tickets are on sale now. Supershowlive.com right here in Huntsville, Alabama. It'll be Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and myself. Doesn't get any easier than this one for me. It's right down the road.
It's going to be a big week. It really is. And we look forward to going to what used to be the Von Braun Civic Center. It's now the Von Braun Center.
The Probst Arena specifically is where you'll be. And you can watch live on TNT, but you should jump in your car and come check us out at the show afterwards at Stand Up Live. Supershowlive.com is where you pick up your tickets.
Well, can I tell you how much fun I'm having back in wrestling again? And I hope it comes across that way on Wednesday nights.
That's a great point, JR.
Oh, here we go.
No, I was just saying it's a great point that you're making, that you're having a good time.
Yeah.
What I like is you can.
I think I'm talking a lot more on those shows.
Oh, you are. You were very motivated this week when they put Dave Brown out there. When they wheeled an old relic out there, you were like, "Oh, this fucker might be here for my job. I better get to talking." And you were very, very active. My phone was blowing up. Like, man, Tony's talking a lot. I'm like, yeah, they found another one to dust off. He's worried now. Got him looking over his shoulder.
Hey, but I got some great news that I'm very excited about coming up. I'm going to have a chance to do a couple of matches with Taz.
That's going to be happening real soon, I believe.
Yeah, Tony and Taz. I can't wait for that, man.
Yeah, he's going to take your job.
Yeah, I don't care. But here's the deal. He's I just, since we have been doing this podcast and since we've been watching a lot of ECW stuff, I've become a big Taz fan.
Oh, he's the best.
I think it's well known that I've become, and just I'm excited about working with him. I am.
Hey, let me give you a gimmick. So when you see him, like in front of everybody, as he starts to make the approach in the hotel or the meeting or wherever, make sure there's people around who can hear it. I need you to just yell, "Hey, Black Towel Jones!" Call him Black Towel Jones. He really likes that.
Okay. Thank you. I can always depend on you to help me out in situations like this.
He will not dump you on your head for that. I promise. Although he did recently remind me, just because I can't bump anymore doesn't mean I can't bump other people. And then he said something like, "Watch your mouth, brother." Something like that.
Oh boy.
I get in a lot of trouble with him, as you know.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'm really excited about him here. The Harris brothers, for all their rumored
Nazism.
They could bump for some big guys, couldn't they? There were worse big guys.
I have jokes, but I feel like given our Tessa Blanchard news this past weekend, I should just keep going.
Okay. I don't know. Listen, I don't know the Tessa Blanchard news. Go on, hit me.
Oh, really?
I don't.
I'm not telling you shit, but I would say Google it because she was trending number 2 on Saturday, and that was during the playoffs.
Hmm.
Let's remind everybody that,
go ahead.
I can't believe this is real.
Oh boy.
There's so many moving parts on this deal. Here we go. On Saturday, a group of what was believed to be 15 to 20 wrestlers were expected to confront Bush the next afternoon before the show, and all, as a group, asked for contract releases as a protest against Sullivan being named Booker. Since Bush stated at a meeting that he took over as the man in charge, that if anybody was unhappy working in the company, he'd give them their full release. Being wrestling what it is, about half the group that promised to stick together the previous day had already changed their mind. There didn't appear to be any hard feelings over that among the group that did risk their jobs, being that the realization is if many wrestlers quit at once, they wouldn't be able to find that many new jobs, and most had families to support. It wound up being Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, Shane Douglas, Eddie Guerrero, Conan, and Billy Kidman going to Bush as a group, either asking for their release or for Sullivan to be taken off the booking committee. And Conan also said he was speaking for Juventud and Rey Mysterio, both of whom weren't at the pay-per-view due to not being booked on the card. Chat me up. When did you hear about this?
I never heard about that.
Even when it's happening, nobody came and said, by the way, all these dudes are trying to quit.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Glad we're doing this show.
No, I'm serious. I don't remember somebody coming and say, hey, all these people want to quit. I just thought that it was just the regular, guys quit. I didn't think it was a whole group going to Bill Bush or a whole group going in en masse and doing that. I just thought it was people quitting.
Meltzer would say Bush at this point was in a tough position since he had literally just given the job to Sullivan, and a change due to pressure from the wrestlers would have in the long run left the company in chaos, because the wrestlers, whenever they get unhappy, which is routine in this business, would try the same strategy if it worked once, and might actually stick together if it worked once. Bush was also said to be unaware that any of this was about to happen before it did, or that there was this much heat with Sullivan, which was not a good sign since it had already been reported as it was going to happen on several websites and at least one radio show by Saturday. Bush said to the first group before the pay-per-view, give me 1 week to smooth things over, but did not go so far as to say he would give them full releases in 1 week if they were still unhappy. At one point, Benoit was going to, since he believed he was leaving, not accept the title. The feeling was it was best for all concerned because his champion that had just been put over with the title, it gave him some leverage since nobody else in the group had a current top position. It does make one question the decision to still give him the title after he asked for his release, but that appears to be management, giving a feeling that maybe he's a mark for the belt, and that right. Sullivan in the beginning would be, politically, for Sullivan's own survival under scrutiny, be forced to push Benoit to the moon, despite whatever personal feelings there might be. I would ask what you thought about this, but you just said you didn't know it happened.
I didn't.
But how do you process that? Do you think he was giving the belt to Chris Benoit to just secure his own job? Was he doing it to curry some favor with the boys who maybe were negative? Is this his way of proving, hey, you don't have anything to worry about?
Yeah.
Or did he think that this was best for business?
No, I think he was doing that to show the boys there's nothing to worry about. That's what it's and that's what it feels to me. Whether that really was the case or not, I don't know, but that's what it feels. Listen, it's hard to explain, but there was so much shit going on you just, two things. You had to worry about your own job, and I had to worry about, announcing and putting together other TV shows and editing, working with the producers, editing other TV shows, that I didn't have the time nor the energy to get involved in who is upset with who. I didn't, because it would just bring me down. And I tried to stay away from all that shit. There were people, who talked to people and got the dirt and read the dirt sheets and internet and whatever. I stayed away from all that because it just upset me. And I didn't need to see that or hear that, so I stayed away from it. So when we had a lot of people walk out, I just wrote it off to, well, people leave and come and go and come all the time. I did not hear of a mass walkout. But there apparently was one, right? I mean, there was one.
Meltzer would write, Benoit, being the most valuable member of the group, if he agreed to stay, would severely weaken the group as a whole. There was no indication from anywhere in WCW that they were going to remove Sullivan as booker, and there were wrestlers in the group that Bush told afterwards very nicely that he'd be sorry to see them leave. There also appeared to be several attempts to weaken the solidarity of the group throughout the day, being that this is pro wrestling and groups sticking together has never been a strong trait in this business, with very few true friends and a general me first attitude. Mm-hmm. Benoit was told he was aligning himself with the wrong people and that they had big plans for him. Nash told Perry Saturn a similar story, not to align himself with preliminary guys, and told him that he deserved a big push and he'd work to get him a spot in the NWO. Kidman was promised a major singles push out of the cruiserweight level and into the United States title picture, which eventually broke him from the group. In a similar divide and conquer action, Conan was the recipient of one of the scare tactics, being told by Dylan after the pay-per-view that he was being sent home by management for the time being. The other wrestlers, while some admired the guts of the guys for sticking together, were not unified totally with the general feeling that they were risking high-paying guaranteed money contracts that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else, with only one company paying even comparable money and no guarantee that all would be able to get positions with that company, that the group wasn't being business smart to risk their jobs largely for what some outsiders perceived as nothing more than loyalty to Chris Benoit. I feel like that's something that isn't talked about a lot, but behind the scenes, everyone knew that Chris Benoit, for lack of a better word, had stolen Kevin Sullivan's wife, right?
Right.
So if you're aligning yourself with the guy who stole the boss's wife, doesn't that maybe line up to be not the smartest decision?
Well, one would think, but this is pro wrestling.
It's so weird to me, like in a very conventional sense. If you work at a place and your best friend starts beating out the boss's wife, I might start distancing myself from him at work if I felt like I was in the line of fire. But if they started promoting that guy who just beat out the boss's wife, well, I'm going to figure out, I'm going to get me a cup of coffee and just figure out what's next, but I ain't going nowhere because bad behavior is rewarded in this company.
There's something I need to ask about all this.
First of all, hang on, before we do, let's just get down the rabbit hole for a minute. Let's pretend for a minute that someone started hooking up with Linda McMahon.
Uh-huh.
You reckon Vince is going to put the belt on him? I'm just asking.
No, I doubt it.
This is a fucking weird story, man. Is it not? And by the way, as we're talking over Oklahoma here,
yeah,
who's doing the world's worst JR impression. I can't believe this is real.
But he's also not doing he stopped doing the Bell's palsy look.
He's still talking out of the side of his mouth though. And he's saying that no woman belongs in the ring with him. And any of you men out there that disagree with me are nothing more than a panty waste. He's doing his best Jim Ross impression, but he's about to wrestle Medusa for the cruiserweight title. I can't believe this is real. By the way, that last match went 9 minutes, 33 seconds. Not that you really care.
Don't.
No. And the finish saw Disco Inferno turn on Vito, shoving him off the top rope. He lands on Ron and gets the pin. And the gimmick, I guess, here is the Disco is against Vito and Johnny, but he screws up and keeps helping him out, and they think he's his friend.
I didn't care, and no one else cared.
But you're all about this, are you not?
Yes, I am.
This is your favorite Nitro girl and your favorite I think is she wearing the Tampa Bay Bucks jersey of her husband at the time?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I have a question about all this. I'm listening to you read all this from Dave Meltzer, which is very well written. It almost seems as if Dave Meltzer has a wiretap into Bill Bush's office, which we know he didn't. At least we didn't think he did. Or he's a fly on the wall in Bill Bush's office.
What do you think of Medusa's outfit here?
I like it.
You like the top better, or I like the kilt thing?
No, I like the top.
The kilt thing is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
American flag gimmick.
Mm-hmm. That all would be fun.
You know, I just noticed too. It's Mad USA is Medusa. So she's got the American flag on because literally the last three letters of her name are USA.
Right.
USA.
Made in the USA is what Medusa stood for. So anyway, because of so many politicians in the business, and so who he said, she said, who do you believe? Who do you not believe? Who's telling the truth? How did Dave know what to print was right? I mean, he had to get his sources from of many different places. And how did he know what was correct and what was? It just seems odd to me. Again, unless he had a wiretap on what was going on, it's said the way he's writing that, the way you're reading it, sounds like he knows verbatim what happened. Does he really? Is there a part of the story that he doesn't know? Or how many people would he have to confirm on a certain story before he go with it as really happening?
By the way, Ed Ferrara is a TV writer here, and he's bumping his ass off for Medusa with
Ed's a good guy, man.
And his tights, you know, while I didn't love the Oklahoma gimmick, and I think most agree it was in poor taste, they're doing a nice job with the logo on his tights, mocking the WWF logo. They're using the font for WWF on Oklahoma and OK, and then doing the little red swoosh underneath. Pretty well done. And he's wearing cowboy boots. This is putting yourself out there.
Would they be Austin Hall cowboy boots, maybe?
You think?
Could be.
Is he that much of a wrestling fan? He had Austin Hall boots?
I don't know. It's the only boot.
He's got the sauce. The Nitro Girl wants it. Here we go.
Yeah, come on.
This is your favorite Nitro Girl, isn't it?
I love Spice. Spice and I were buddies. We rode to a different town, a couple of towns together.
You take her to any movies?
I did not.
What movie would you like to see with her?
With Spice?
Yeah.
Star Wars, episode 9.
Mm.
Wait a minute. I got a dog. I think this will pee on the floor here.
Well, that'd be great.
That'd be great. Hold on now.
1, 2, 3. And Medusa, very self-conscious, wants to get that Mad USA back up over the butt cheeks. And Oklahoma celebrating. There he is, your largest cruiserweight champion ever. And gets a kick in the back for his efforts.
There's a good girl. Woo!
She's threw the belt on him. Here we go. They're going to open the sauce. They should have peeled the fucking paper off ahead of time.
Yeah. See that again.
Vince McMahon would have made sure that was done.
Yes, he would have.
Here comes the sauce. Time to sauce it, baby.
Uh-huh. Oh, down the old singlet.
Oh, she's going to make sure she gets it on the McRib.
Oh God.
We should mention, by the way, that you can get JR sauce delivered now. JR'sBBQ.com. He's got the ketchup, the mustard. Of course, he's got the hot sauce, the regular sauce. He's got the jerky, everything you need in your JR products. JR'sBBQ.com.
The main event mustard is the best.
Chipotle ketchup's over like we're over too.
Yes, it is.
There's Brian Knobs actually wearing a belt. How about that? It's the Hardcore Championship. What do you think Mean Gene's saying here?
Brian Knobs, the Hardcore Championship. Is it true that you showed your asshole online and someone actually came up with it and showed it on YouTube? You have a big asshole. You want to know, Mean Gene? I do have a big asshole, but I'm not an asshole. There are a lot of assholes back here. And a lot of people are going to Meltzer and talking about this and talking about that, but I'm not one of them because I'm a good guy. Everybody likes me. I may look like a hardcore champion. I may have been a nasty boy, but fuck that. I'm a good guy. And yes, I got a big asshole, a big asshole. And I showed it. And you know what? There could have been a midget up in my asshole eating a donut. Who knows? Oh, love to see that midget up your asshole.
By the way, I don't know if you saw, but great friend of the show. I think he listens still. Kid Chris called him years ago and filmed it. Somebody got him his number. They called him on the show and started talking like he knew him. And of course, Brian wasn't sure, like, is this an old promoter or, so Brian plays along for a little bit. And then he says, so, hey, I saw a picture of your asshole. That's what Brian Knobs knows. Okay. Something maybe is amiss.
Right.
And then he says something like, why is your asshole so big? And the line of my life, Brian Knobs immediately says, well, that's what happens when you win the belts. God damn. That's so great. Shout out to Kid Chris. Look him up on Twitter. He's a good follow.
Shout out to Brian Knobs too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's get back to our shenanigans. We should mention the Oklahoma mess went 2 minutes, 56 seconds, got a dud rating. The match we're about to see is a four-way, I believe, with Brian Knobs, Dave Finley, Norman Smiley, and Ming. They're going to go 6 minutes and 11 seconds, and it's a hardcore match. So, you know what? We should probably just watch this one and have some fun with it. And then we'll talk about all the political bullshit later. Cause this you usually have fun with when you see guys that, you know, getting hit with inanimate objects.
Yeah. And you know, we're watching, what happened, from Nitro, and odds are, knowing how we are, they didn't even tell the catering people about this. They probably just went back there and shot it.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Look at, they never knew what to do with Ming, did they?
No.
Never knew what to do with him. Fans seem to be having a good time. I guess they're still expecting Bret Hart to come out. I don't know if we even announced that to the crowd.
We should mention, coming up next week here on the show, we're doing something really special. The 1992 Royal Rumble. If you haven't already, set your calendars. January 22nd, arguably the biggest and best Royal Rumble ever. On the 29th, we're hitting you with the 06 Royal Rumble. And then on February 5th, the main event from 1988, Hogan and Andre on NBC, record viewership for that one. But next week, man, people are looking forward to this. The 1992 Royal Rumble, January 22nd.
I'm looking forward to it as well. That's the Ric Flair winning the Royal Rumble, right?
Yes, sir.
Can't wait, man.
Brian Knobs. This looks like Casio Kid coming into our hotel room in Vegas.
Oh God. Hey, can I get Corey Ryan Forrester to pay for my airline ticket?
Oh, we're both diamond, so we're to that level now.
Yeah.
Hey, seriously, you're getting flown every week. Don't you have a lot of miles built up by this point?
Yeah, I've been using them though.
Well, then use them to come to Vegas. What the fuck?
I'll come.
All right.
I gotta get somebody to do the basketball game for me, but I think I can. I think I can get somebody.
I'm gonna get some Mellow Yellow Zero out there. We're gonna make a party. See what?
Oh, which reminds me, I was in Alabama this past weekend.
What?
I was in Alabama.
You didn't say shit to me.
Yeah, I was in Auburn, Alabama.
Oh, I ain't going there.
Yeah, no one is. And I was trying to leave before the storm hit, as we had a big storm, as you know, in this part of the country. And I go to a convenience store in Alabama, rural Alabama, right off the interstate. And guess what they had in the cooler? Mellow Yellow fucking Zero.
How about it?
You can't find that any cooler in Georgia. It's like it doesn't exist. But there it was, looking at me. So this is a four-way, right? This is not it. It almost looks like it's tag team the way they're doing it.
Four-way, but okay. I think they had made allegiances ahead of time.
Well, I mean, Fit Finley and Brian Knobs are dressed alike.
It's a singles belt, though.
Right.
Smiley and Ming turned against each other right away. So the idea was definitely that, Knobs and Finley were going to try to team up. But that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's every man for himself. They all want that piece of shit title. Who is your favorite WCW hardcore champion?
It was Norman Smiley, because the way he would scream.
So you love it when Private Party, when they're getting chopped back and forth and we hear the high pitched squeals, right?
I guess.
Okay. Never mind. I thought you watched the show. Probably slept through that part. This is a real special title here. We're talking about this hardcore championship in WCW. Norman Smiley, Brian Knobbs, Bam Bam Bigelow, Brian Knobbs, Shane Helms, Evan Courageous, and Shannon Moore at the same damn time. Brian Knobbs, Terry Funk, Shane Douglas, Terry Funk, Eric Bischoff, Big Vito, and Johnny the Bull at the same damn time. Big Vito, Lance Storm, Carl Ouellette, Norman Smiley, Reno, Crowbar, Terry Funk, Ming. Can you believe Terry Funk held this fucking thing 3 times?
Yes, I can believe that. But in reality, now I didn't know what was going on in ECW, and ECW was certainly at its end by this time in 2000 or near the end. I couldn't, based on fans watching ECW stuff, this was kind of mild, wasn't it? Based on what ECW would
they're
do.
hitting each other with cookie sheets and shit. I just think it's funny that Brian Knobbs and Terry Funk held the same belt the same amount of times. No matter what belt it is, when you just say that out loud, you're like, nah, fuck out of here. Come on. What?
Woo. Oh.
By the way, my uncle was a huge Norman Smiley fan. He just wanted to see the Big Wiggle.
That was cool. Norman had a little bit of comedic timing about him. Here we go. This is what fans love to see. Go in to the fans.
I just assumed when I saw that guy in the front row with the outsider shirt with the cut off sleeves, with the tattoos right here, I just assumed, oh, well, they're definitely in Florida. Look at that fucking guy. Nope. Ohio.
Cincinnati. Yeah.
So Dawkins may have been here looking for shit to trademark in the upper deck, trying to get Wi-Fi.
How's he doing for us anyway? Is he doing good work for us?
I don't know. Their accounting department left me alone, so I guess it's going good.
Yeah. That's always, if you're not getting billed, he ain't doing shit,
Well, there for a minute, we did so much so fast that when the invoice came and it was like the equivalent of a goddamn fully loaded 4Runner, I was like, what have we done? We got to slow down. So I made a few calls and rounded up the wagons and said, hey guys, whoa.
They're moving into a brand new office in Toledo. Why?
Jesus Christ. Seriously, it's going to be like, I'm sure his office has a plaque for me and Cody out front now.
Well, I'm sure it does. Hell, it's got a bar downstairs.
What sucks though, is that, when Cody got him scared into fucking trademarking everything they ever did ever in Stamford, they should have sent that business to Dawkins too, because he earned it. God damn it. I don't know if you saw, but they went on like a trademark spree a couple months ago where it was like, here's every show we ever did. Renew them.
Oh God.
So coming soon to the WWE network. It Ain't Seinfeld 2020 and Big Ass Extreme Bash 2021.
Jesus Christ. What a fucking business.
Head to the dick. There's that big wiggle we needed. I need that dance. Look at the dance is over.
Oh,
that's what's crazy about wrestling. I don't know if you saw, but they're hitting each other with every weapon possible and the crowd, no reaction.
No.
He does a little dance in place and man, hands go up all around the arena.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show you that you got to listen to the audience. I don't know shit about wrestling, but if you just watch the crowd, you can see what they're reacting to and what they're not. And that little dance, man, that shit was over. And thankfully this match is over. Brian Knobbs is victorious.
Well, they didn't go all over the place like they should have.
Well, they're probably worried they would run into a new booker.
But they just showed footage of them in Nitro going back and catering. And you think that, to keep up that, they would go backstage and do something. They did nothing. Well, anyway, how many stars does this thing get? Wow.
You want to guess?
2.
Star and 3/4. You're real close. That's real close.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The hardcore champion, Brian Knobbs. There was a time, I don't know if I ever brought this up on this podcast or not. There was a time where they were hitting each other with trash can lids.
Yep.
And hitting each other with aluminum cookie pans or whatever. And it was apparent that it was just making a big sound. And it was apparent it wasn't hurting anybody. And the reason it wasn't hurting anybody is they weren't selling it that much. So I made the comment that these trash can lids and cookie sheets are making a big noise, but they're not really hurting these guys that much. And Dave Meltzer apparently said, because somebody told me, I think Scott Hudson told me, because Scott read everything Dave did, told me that Meltzer said, why would Schiavone even say something like that? Well, the reason I said something like that was it was apparent. I just couldn't sell it anymore because it would go wang and the fans would go woo and the guy would just kind of stumble and come right back. If it was really hurting him, he'd fall down. So I'm got that off my chest. You understand what I'm saying? I just sometimes all that hardcore, all that hardcore and kayfabe is not dead yet, and some of that all that hardcore stuff to me was just noise and it lost its effect. But the fans would react to whack, the sound of the trash can lid, because it made a great sound.
Well, then you should have told everybody to stop slapping their fucking legs too. You should have said, oh, that super kick didn't hurt. Go kick your little sister in the face if you're at home right now and you're 12 years old. Bet it don't make a big noise like that. But you know what does? When you slap your leg. Finley told me at the water cooler last week that this generation is going to have callous thighs, not cauliflower ears, cauliflower thighs.
Okay. All right. I should have never gone there.
Shouldn't have Schiavoned.
I should have just shut the fuck up.
Your job was to sell it and you shit on it.
I should have just shut the fuck up.
Now I'm glad you're here.
Oh, Billy Kidman's second match. Remember the first one? Dean Malenko ran out of the ring, lost, got pissed off.
By the way, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, you go ahead.
I was going to say something about my friend Dean Malenko, who you've misaligned
Whoa.
You have misrepresented and misaligned my relationship with the great Dean Malenko.
Hey, buddy. And they don't mean that y'all got in a brawl in catering. That's
no, that's a lie. You a lie.
I'm not a lie. That's
you
what
a lie.
happened.
You a motherfucking lie. I didn't get in a brawl in catering Dean Malenko because he's old and I beat his ass. But rather than that, Dean and I are friends. So I just want to put that out there.
I just want to tell the truth here.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happened.
You a lie.
Ask anybody who was there.
Yeah. Okay.
Seriously. Ask anybody who was there. And they will tell you for sure that you and Dean Malenko came to blows. I think it was early December. So as we're talking now, roughly 6 weeks ago, and I'm glad to hear that you guys have tried to patch things up, but don't you go fucking pissing up my leg and tell me it's raining.
I'm pissing up your leg and telling you a lie. I would never fight. I would never go to blows to anybody in catering unless it was for the last piece of pumpkin pie. I
was told that you got up in his face and said something like, don't start no shit, won't be no shit.
No, you a lie. And whoever told you that's a lie.
I feel like we should mention that, two guys who thought they were a part of this big coup to jump from the WCW to the WWF were Shane Douglas and Conan, but both had histories in the WWF and it wasn't exactly all that awesome. So that doesn't work out.
So they didn't go.
They didn't go.
They didn't go.
And
they thought they were. And
Meltzer would even say that some of the guys like Psychosis and Malenko and Guerrero probably need to think about going because they're going to be put into a situation perhaps like Kai and Tai, where there's great wrestlers, but because they're not the biggest guys, they just give them a sort of funny ha-ha throwaway act, not a meaningful role within the company. And Meltzer would say, for that matter, even Benoit isn't a sure thing for that very reason. Although it's hard to believe he couldn't run with The Rock, Helmsley, and or Austin very quickly for the angle to work. New Japan has shown so many times it's better to get that relatively quickly because a traditional slow build would negate this particular angle. The idea being that you got to throw him right into the deep water with the big dogs, or they won't perceive him as being at that level. And that turned out to be the case. It took a while. You know, he makes the jump here in 2000, doesn't become their champion until 2004. So it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
We should also mention that Jeff Jarrett and Scott Steiner also went to Bush, not so much in protest to Sullivan, but to express their feelings that Russo hadn't been given a fair shake. And we know Jeff Jarrett was definitely loyal to Vince Russo. I don't know much about the Scott Steiner Vince Russo relationship. What can you tell us about that?
I don't know anything. I know Scott Steiner feels that his best run as a singles competitor was when he was named Big Papa Pump, and that came from Vince Russo. That's the only thing I can tell you about that. That seems to me would be the reason that Scott would go to him. I mean, Jeff Jarrett was obviously Russo's guy, but Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner felt Big Papa Pump was there and was the big reason he was a champion and was the best time he had in the business, and he credits Russo for that.
It's crazy to think that the two guys we're watching in the ring right here, literally earlier in the day, tried to leave. And here they are on pay-per-view. Both being recruited and pulled in different directions. Kidman being promised a U.S. title run. Nash saying he'll work on getting Perry Saturn a spot in the NWO. We should mention the next day, before Nitro, Bush met with the Revolution members and Benoit. And it's written, by this point, while nothing was final, it did appear that Kidman's support of the group was wavering and neither Guerrero or Conan were at the show. Bush promised to compromise, saying he wasn't going to fire Sullivan from the company because he's got a family to support, but he suggested that Sullivan be made the booker of the WCW Saturday night show. And the wrestlers were told they would never have to work the Saturday night tapings if they stayed, and thus Sullivan would have no power over their booking. He also asked the group who they thought would make the strongest booking team, and they suggested Terry Taylor, Arn Anderson, and Vince Russo, and the meeting ended amicably with what they thought was a compromise deal. Later in the afternoon, Bush called them in for a second meeting and told them all, except Benoit, who the TV show was scheduled to be built around as the new world champion, that they were being sent home, perhaps partially because the group had filed a complaint with the Human Resources Department of Time Warner against the road agent Mike Graham. Plan was that the heel commissioner Nash was going to force Benoit into 3 title defenses on the show with Brian Knobbs, Lex Luger, and a third person whose name we're not sure of. And Benoit was going to win all 3 matches. So clearly they're trying to play to his ego and giving him the monster push to break away from the group, which would break the opposition to Sullivan. And management felt this was going to work because there didn't appear to be any major hesitation in putting the title on Benoit the previous day. Benoit instead said if they're being sent home, he was leaving and that they were together as a group. And when Bush threatened that if he left with the group, he'd be stripped of the title, he didn't hesitate in saying he was staying with the group. And at this point, if they all wanted their full release for the company because they needed to get rid of Sullivan. So the report is that Benoit threw the belt in a garbage can and stormed off before Nitro started, but that's incorrect. He's saying they stayed backstage for some time before the company got them new plane tickets home. And then Benoit just handed the belt to Nick Patrick before leaving.
Sounds like to me Meltzer had everyone's phone tapped. He's talking as if he was standing back there when all this happened.
Well, he's getting calls from multiple guys giving the scoop. Not you. Fuck, you're oblivious.
You're goddamn right, but it's best to be oblivious. It's fucking best to be oblivious to this bullshit. You can't do your job if you're listening to everybody chirp. Sure.
I should mention the HR thing with Mike Graham. We've talked about that a little bit. When did you first hear that story? Here on the show?
Yes. Sure did.
As you may remember, allegedly, Mike Graham goes to Benoit and says something like, man, I'll tell you this. If the roles were reversed and I was Kevin, and I'm paraphrasing, but supposedly he said something like, if I was Kevin Sullivan and you stole my wife, I wouldn't put the belt on you. I'd put your fucking head on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they told HR, and boom. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, but Mike got fired for the blacktop bully thing.
Yeah, he was brought back by this point.
He was?
Yeah. Of course.
All right. Mike was a very volatile guy. And he came from the old school shit, with his dad, and Booker's ruled everything. And it was, did you see Kidman's head hit the, right there? Fuck. Sold the head too.
Sold the head.
He did. He reached the,
if you go to Vegas, I'm going to get somebody to sell the head.
Oh boy, that's good. So when are we going? Oh, wait a second. We've got to, when are you coming back from Vegas?
On Monday, the 3rd.
Which means we either got to do our podcast before or do it during. And the last time I,
you got obliterated. So
yeah. And then we had a lot of people leave. Didn't want to listen to me anymore after they said Schiavone was too fucked up to do the podcast. Fuck.
Well, there's 52 shows a year.
Speaking of fucked up, that was a fucked up spot.
By the way, we should mention, we figured out something for Patreon. We're doing our big low-key Big Hog get-together weekend in April. Am I right?
That's right. The last weekend in April. We sure are.
Billy Kidman gets the win there.
Mm-hmm.
So mark your calendars if you haven't already. I guess it's April 24th, 25th, and 26th. Low-key Big Hog get-together here in Huntsville, Alabama. I can't believe you're coming back to Huntsville again. I thought I would have to travel, but I'm grateful.
No, I thought we had really, I was thinking about it, and I said something to Dave about it, that we had such a good time in Huntsville last time. Why change it up? We did. We had a lot of fun in Huntsville, and Huntsville's small town, small city, so to speak. And I had a great time, a lot of things to do. And maybe if we're lucky, they're going to, Rocket City Wrestling will be running that weekend too.
Oh, here's what we need to do. We need to get Game Changer Wrestling to come run here.
Yeah, why not?
I'm just saying, can you imagine Tony Schiavone in the middle of a Mance Warner WCW reunion show, and Nick Gage comes out and staples Effie's underwear to your head, and Chris Dickinson picks you up and Schlack gives you a table shot. And
Chris Dickinson's not going to do shit to me.
You're a Chris Dickinson fan?
No. I work for a major wrestling company. They ain't going to do shit to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
I have it on good authority.
Look at this shit.
How about this? Suckers got to know. I'm going to play the audio from this.
Okay,
just lay out.
please.
You know it, man. I'm down for mine. See you later, baby. You'll be good, all right? Yeah, home. That's where I am. You know, Booker T, I hope I got your attention. I know you're wondering, what am I doing here? Check out the mother, man. You know, this is where we come from. You know, look at this. A lot of people might think this is just a lot of boxes, shoes, or whatever thrown together. No, this is somebody's home. This is the ghetto. This is where I come from. This is what I'm proud of. And I know this is what you want to forget. But I ain't never gonna let you forget. Because this is what we are. Not too much, brother. How you been doing, man? Same old, same old.
Hey, what What's up, man? What's brother at?
I don't know, man. How you doing? What's up, dog? What's up, man?
Stevie Ray, what's up,
man? What you up to, brother? Same old, man. What you been doing?
Booker T, man. You don't
I
come
don't know
around
where
no
yet,
more.
man. He just don't come around no more.
Sure.
But hey, you know, that's all good, man. We're gonna go to the ball later. You know what I'm saying?
You the
We're gonna
man,
do that.
you the man, Steve.
See that Booker T?
You the man, dog.
Forgot about him, huh? Them your boys, them your friends, your real friends. The friends you forgot about. But I ain't gonna never let you forget that. You know, Booker T, you remember this barbershop? Yeah, we used to have a lot of fun in here getting our haircut, getting our fades. You know how we used to do it? Well, Mr. Harris still asks us about you. You know what he wants to know? Where are you, man? Why you don't ever come around no more? Well, you know, I told him the same thing I told every other brother around here on the hood, man. You ain't got time. What I said to you Monday, that was from my heart. That was real. You remember that. You turned your back on the hood. I'm turning my back on you.
You turned your back on the hood. I'm turning my back on you. An interesting vignette to prove that Booker T has forgotten his roots. Here he is with Stevie Ray. What do you think Mean Gene's saying right now?
Stevie Ray, you just talked about being in the hood and Booker T turned his back, but you were wearing a Mercedes-Benz hat. Yeah, that's because I went there in a Mercedes-Benz. So what you think about that, sucker? I drive a Mercedes-Benz now because I took Bill Bush for all the money in the world that he had. And the fact is that I can't work as well as Booker T, but I still make a lot of jack. You know what I mean? So yeah, I did wear that hat because suckers got to know. You understand? Didn't it look fucked up to you?
Did you just fart?
No, it's my chair.
Sure it is.
No, it is.
I've never heard an old man fart, but I assume it sounds like an old creaky chair.
You never heard your dad fart?
My dad doesn't do that.
Oh, your dad doesn't fart?
No, we're a classy family.
Right.
What does that mean?
Well, that means you're full of shit is what that means. But that's common knowledge.
So right now, the slapdicks who get the free show, they're listening to an ad, but nay, it's me and Big T, Big Nasty. And we're talking to you about the low-key Big Hog get-together coming in Huntsville, April 24th, 25th, 26th. What are you looking forward to most? The fried chicken, the beer drinking contest, the shoe show, some bowling last time. Maybe we should do some Top Golf this time. What are you in the mood for? What do you want to do?
You got Top Golf in Huntsville?
Hell yeah, we do.
Wow, that'll be cool. We did bowling last time. Let's do some Top Golf. And we're going to a shoe show?
Well, I mean, I think it'd be fun, don't you? When's the last time you were at a shoe show?
Oh, it's been years.
Here's the real deal. I mean, if I get down to the shoe show and I get one of these old gals to put that monkey on you gonna be able to hang?
Put that monkey on me?
Yeah. So here's the deal. A little peek behind the curtain. Mance Warner was hanging out once and we made our way to the shoe show, and I may or may not have given the Iggy to one of the ladies there, and they said it was his birthday and called him up on stage, and well,
he got the monkey put on him on stage.
Roll Tide. Not one, not two, but three of them threw the monkey. And I think it would be fun to see you on stage getting the monkey thrown on you.
Okay. I didn't really want to go that far, but I'm sure all of our low-key big hogs would love to see that as well. And I'm sure if that would happen, there would be a lot of smartphones, cameras rolling at that time.
They'd get thrown out on their head. Yeah. There's no cameras allowed in the shoe show.
Good.
It's the number one rule. So it's going to be something you got to be there live and in person to experience. Come for the chicken, stay for the shoe show. It's low-key Big Hog weekend, April 24th, 25th, and 26th. We appreciate all you guys' support here, and we're going to think outside of the box of some fun and unique ways to make this one special. Top Golf and titties. Come on.
Top Golf and titties. Top Golf and titties. Not only that, some great wrestling action that we'll all watch together as well.
And we see Booker T wearing a top here. He's got a second, and Stevie Ray here with his black and silver on. I guess this is as old school as it gets, huh? To have brothers wrestling each other, taking each other toe to toe.
Man, Midnight was.
She'd be tussle worthy for you.
Whew.
I think she'd break it off in you.
Whew.
I think she would be saying, I'm going to stand up in on Tony Schiavone. Stand up in him. By the way, this match is going to go 6 minutes and 30 seconds. It's going to get a quarter star.
Ooh.
And, there's going to be something interesting happen here.
Oh, okay. Can't wait.
I can tell you're pretty excited about it.
I am. As you can tell, the fans are not excited about much in this match. Fans are not into anything here.
By the way, we should mention that this pay-per-view has a lot of paper. Meltzer would even describe it as heavy papering. But it does have a sold out house of 14,132 fans. So we're calling it sold out because there's 14,000 and change here, but only 7,000 paid for their tickets. The gate's $238,000, $45,000 in merchandise, which these days would be like 8 replica belts.
You know, you always had to be, I always thought, tell me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
I always thought that you had to be careful about papering. I mean, yeah, you wanted to paper because you wanted a big crowd, but if you had 7,000 papering, then the 7,000 people who bought their ticket, more than likely, a lot of them are going to get wind of it, and they're going to get pissed off that they paid for it and everybody else got in for free. I always thought that was kind of a fine line there.
Yeah, you set a precedent that you don't have to pay for tickets, and then it's hard to come back and sell them.
Sure is. And Cincinnati was always Cincinnati was a great Crockett town. Was this a no disqualification match? Or did the referee just turn his head?
It's a singles match, but there is going to be a DQ.
Because he just got thrown over the top rope.
Oh, this isn't Bill Watts era. What the fuck? That's not illegal anymore.
Okay. Well, then what are the rules? We had no rules.
Oh, Jesus.
We had no, you got to have rules, right?
By the way, I told our gimmick attorney that you were in.
Yeah.
He said, "Is this real life?" At this time tomorrow, I'll be itching to go back. For now, I need some goddamn sleep and to wash all this glitter and regret off of my clothes.
What? What? He wrote that?
Yeah. He's returning from a trip to, Sin City himself this weekend. And, when I said, "Hey, we should go watch the Super Bowl," he was first in line.
Right.
I'm telling you, we got to get in that attorney racket.
Boy, it's a racket.
I'm just saying, he travels around wherever he wants to go and sponsor stuff. He's got a Louis Vuitton fanny pack.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Like what is that? By the way, they call it a bum bag, which really tickled Cassio. Like, yeah, you're a bum, but you can afford this $1,500 backpack. Like, no, that's in Europe. That's your bum. And they think you're supposed to wear it on the back. Never mind. But of course, Dawkins is all fired up. He can't wait to show you his Louis Vuitton fanny pack. You going to get one?
No, shit, no. You could piss away money better than that.
Well, how are you going to do it? How are you going to piss away money out there?
Me?
Yeah. Just buying drugs or whatever.
No, I'm not going to buy drugs.
You shouldn't. Drugs are bad. Okay.
They are. As a matter of fact, if I'm with you, I usually don't buy anything. That man will be paying today. Which one? The big guy over here.
You know, I don't know what it feels like for someone else to pay. It happens so infrequently.
I know. And I feel guilty about
No, you don't.
offering to pay.
You brag about it here on the show.
I feel good if I offer to pay, I'd feel bad about it because I know you want to. And I don't want to make you feel bad. So that's why I don't pay. And you and Dawkins, shit, we're covered for a whole week if we want to be. And you know that dumbass Cassio ain't gonna pay for shit. And I doubt if Corey Ryan Foster makes plenty of money, he's not gonna pay for shit either.
I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this or not, but it finally came out over the weekend that Brian Cage had signed with All Elite Wrestling. You have a comment on that?
No, I don't.
I figure you would. Sure. In the belly of the beast. What's funny is I feel like a lot of people are really surprised by that, but then it's like, aren't you paying attention?
Well, it's
Hey, what'd you think of, since you don't want to talk about AEW and I get that, what'd you think about it coming out that Marty Scurll is now re-signed with Ring of Honor and is the booker of Ring of Honor?
That's probably the only way they could keep him, wouldn't it? Give him the book.
I'm just saying.
That would be my feeling.
Wouldn't that be, here's the thing. Wouldn't that be a great gig? Let's run this past you. You're going to work 40 days a year. Mm-hmm. You're going to make a lot of money. And oh, by the way, you get to decide what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking sign me up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Good for him. Calling his own shots, baby.
That's it. And of course, as we know in pro wrestling, bookers have no heat.
And who does have heat?
What's this? What the fuck?
You're not in the loop on this?
Oh yeah, that's
Big T.
That is. Fuck, it is.
Ahmed Johnson.
Yes.
And the crowd is chanting Ahmed, and he looks like he ate Ahmed. They're calling him Big T here. He's from their past.
Watch out.
Tony Norris, by the way.
Is Tony Norris?
Yeah. His real name. Booker T really stands out head and shoulders here, does he not?
Mm-hmm. So this match only got like 1.5 stars. Did anything get any good ratings at all on this?
Nope. By the way, he's cut by April.
Who Ahmed is?
Yeah, he's out of here. April. This gets a 1/4 star. Next up, got a 1-star match, then a 3 1/4 star match, then a 3/4 of a star, then a 2.5 star, and then a 2 3/4 star. So
I'm looking forward to a 3 1/4 star match.
I don't think you are.
They may have to stand. That probably stands out on this one.
I think what you're looking forward to is the next one. It's Tank Abbott and Jerry Flynn.
Well,
what's wrong with that? Hey, so
no,
Tony,
nothing. It'd be great. It'd be great.
When was the last time you took a Benadryl?
I can't remember the last time I took a Benadryl. Why?
Well, I got a haircut this past week and felt a little itchy after. And I told the wife, just took a look, and she said, "Oh, you do have like some bumps on your neck. That's weird. Maybe she used something different at the lady who cuts my hair." I'm like, "I don't know." I took a Benadryl. Dude, that little pill knocked my big ass out, son.
Yeah.
Drowsy ain't the word. I slept like the dead.
Yep.
Like, I don't think I need Tylenol PM ever again. Not that I'm a regular user, but sometimes if it's like, I can't sleep, I'm sick, I'm just going to take a Benadryl. Holy shit, man. You should try giving one of those to Lois. Just see what you can get away with.
If you hadn't had a Benadryl before, it'll take care of you. It is quite. You ever tried ZQuil?
No.
Okay. I tried some ZQuil last weekend.
Yeah.
I couldn't get up.
Like your penis?
No, couldn't get up out of bed.
Oh. So it paralyzed you.
Yeah, ZQuil was like melatonin and lavender and something else. There was no drugs in it, but no, well, I guess melatonin's a drug, but they said you won't feel drowsy in the morning. They were right. I didn't feel anything in the morning. It wasn't until the afternoon when I finally got out of bed. ZQuil with melatonin. Yikes.
By the way, if you Google yourself right now, Tony Schiavone,
yeah,
the suggestions are AEW podcast, WCW, Starbucks, wife, Dean Malenko, age, Twitter, net worth. I'm fascinated by net worth. I'm clicking it. Holy shit, dude.
Is it nothing?
No, this is unbelievable.
Because I can tell you what it's worth.
No, this is outstanding. Nothing. No, this is celebstrendingnow.com. This is outstanding. Congratulations, dude.
Shut the fuck up.
No, I'm being sincere.
Yeah, you've never been sincere on this podcast.
According to Wikipedia, Forbes, IMDb, and various online resources, famous sportscaster Tony Schiavone's net worth is $19 million at the age of 61 years old. He earned the money from being a professional sportscaster. He is from Virginia. Boom. God damn. That fucking Tony Khan. That's some serious jack right there, buddy. I got to get me a check.
That's some serious press as well.
$16 million. I need 10% of that. I was your agent on that deal.
You said 19 first.
Okay.
It went down 3 million. All right, 13.
No, it's 19.
No,
Seriously,
it's 9.
Google yourself. It says 19. It's forced to have it.
I'm not Googling myself, okay? I'm not fucking Googling myself.
It doesn't hurt.
I don't care. I ain't Googling.
You won't even feel it.
I don't give a shit.
Just
I ain't
hold
Googling
still.
myself.
Just hold still. I'll do all the work.
We go to Vegas and we get drunk and eat some edibles. I still ain't Googling myself.
Dude, I can't believe this is real. I just texted it to you.
I don't want to see it.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you. Well, you know what? If I was worth $19 million, Lois Schiavone wouldn't be fucking around.
There it is. You hear my
I hear,
message
yeah.
coming through? Take a look. See what you think. Well,
Tony Schiavone net worth under review. Boys than ever.
Forget that part.
Yeah. I got to send this to Lois. She won't fucking believe it.
I'm trying to tag Chris Schiavone, but I can't.
You probably can.
Well,
Can't.
I guess he changed his handle.
Oh God.
Dude, this is so great. Congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Now, meanwhile, what did this match get? Like a eighth of a star?
An eighth of a star. It gets 1 star and it's outstanding.
Okay. All right.
You're going to be really excited about this.
About what? What's coming up next?
Tank Abbott, Jerry Flynn.
No, we just saw it.
Well, I'm just saying that was 1 star. You were not excited about that?
No. Okay.
I know you won't be excited about this. It's Buff Bagwell and Diamond Dallas Page. It's
this was a bullshit. This was a bullshit angle.
It's 3 1/4 stars.
This gets 3 1/4 star.
Yeah. And it's even called best match on the show. Mainly a brawl all over the place. They ended up in the internet area and each guy smashed their computer together and DDP hit Bagwell with a keyboard. Blah, blah, blah. They did an angle where Kimberly came out, but she did nothing. And they teased that they didn't know which one she had come out to help.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, can you believe DDP's old ass is wrestling again tonight with AEW?
Isn't that something? God.
I thought it was cool the way he's 67 and came out and diamond cut the young tag team trying to get over. I nearly choked to death right there.
Everybody's a fucking booker.
No, I'm not at all. I just think it's awesome the way he's trying to help the young guys get over, you know?
Yeah, bro.
Seriously, I've never seen someone run through their entire LinkedIn resume the way DDP did on this.
Isn't it?
Last night. As you all know, bro, from following me on bang@ddp.com, maybe you first seen me on my Instagrams. It's at Diamond Dallas Page Yoga. Maybe you've seen me on the Twitter machine. Some of you probably even got my free app in the App Store and Google Play.
Did you hear JR react to it?
No, what is that?
He was doing all that stuff, and you could hear JR say, you could just hear him say, on the mic. And so after the show was over, DDP said, bro, I need to talk to you. And I'm thinking, he's going to give me shit for JR's comment. Well, it wasn't really a comment, just kind of a
sigh.
A sigh. Yeah, sigh, right. And he said, come on, he talked to us. Fuck, here we go. So I walk in the back. He said, hey, bro, how much weight have you gained? I said, I've gained 5 pounds. I said, I weigh every week. I went down to 219 on your diet. I'm up to 224. He said, bro, you need to stop right now. You will gain all your weight back. It's okay. I said, thanks, man. I really appreciate your concern. He said, listen, I'll help you out. Call me, whatever you need. And I walked out there thinking, whew, I guess he didn't hear JR's comment.
Well, he's going to hear about me and you talking about him, and we're both going to get lit up on our text messages.
Anyway, this was a bullshit angle. This was one of those angles to where they tried to work the boys. We were in the backstage area. I think we were in Denver, if I recall. And there was a commotion in the back as the guys were getting there that day. And someone said, Paige and Bagwell are having a fight about Kimberly. And they had a big pull apart, and they tried to make it look real. And I'm standing in the back watching this pull apart thinking, who the fuck are they trying to fucking fool? They're trying to work the boys to try to make it a real angle.
How about the sign in the background that says Buff ate my stuff? There's a girl holding it up. Mm. So anyway, you weren't a fan of the involving somebody's real life wife in a story like that?
No. I mean, look, I get it. You try to come up with a storyline and you try to make it real, but I never was in favor of working the boys because nothing's a work. I mean, nothing's real. Everything's a work. So don't try to fucking fool us. Oh, both went down at the same time and beer flying away. By the way, here's a little, we're at 137, 20, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40.
By the way, is DDP going to be, when it's all said and done, one of the most important figures in wrestling history?
I think he's going to be one of the most successful after wrestling figures.
I mean, not only did he started late, was a manager, then started late as a wrestler, went on to have great success there, helped a lot, became world champ, helped a lot of people with, their physical fitness and taking better care of themselves, turned around Jake the Snake and Scott Hall in a major way. And then sort of quietly, as he's built this big business for himself, the way you promote a business these days is a little different. You've got to have almost like your own little promotional department. And he assembled a really, really great crew of people. The Steve Hughes of the world, the Dylan Primers of the world. And when this whole AEW thing came to be, they were there to help lend support when a startup wrestling company really needed it. And now he's behind the scenes, a pretty important part of that from a production standpoint. And I just don't think long term, even though he's our buddy, we like to fuck with him on the show because that's what we do. Long term, when you really look at his influence in the business in a very positive way, because lots of people say, oh, he was terrible to work with, and oh, he wanted to script his matches, and Mark Madden thinks he's a dick. And there's people who didn't like him as an in-ring performer when he was wrestling, but now that he's out of the ring, the support continues for the business in a way that I don't think a lot of people really understand.
No, I agree with everything you said. He will go down as one of the more important ones in the business.
Chris Jericho credits him with still being able to do what he does because he had really bad back trouble, and lots of guys, have lengthened their career. A guy like AJ Styles years ago was really hurting in his back, and he got on this routine and now he's better for it. And you don't hear as much of that anymore because, the AEW, WWE thing is real, but there are a lot of guys who have, his program as a regular part of their lifestyle, yourself included, and it's helped a lot. And, then the whole production facility thing, just right place, right time, good guy, somebody they know, like, and trust. And it continues to evolve. It's really remarkable that it almost feels accidental until you talk to him and realize, no, it was the plan all along.
Yeah. He's got great people working for him. You're right. He really does. And I go there every week and work with those guys, and I'm not going to mention them because I'll leave somebody out and I shouldn't.
Well, there's Weird Louie. We know there's Weird Louie.
Yeah, there's Weird Louie. And you know what? I need to say something here about Weird Louie.
He's the guy who does the terrible impressions at the start of the show that have ruined it for the last year. Continue.
No, he does some of them. He doesn't do them all. He does some of them. He did Sean Connery. He did Christopher Walken, Norm Macdonald. He does some of them. But for every time I see Weird Louie,
Yeah.
first thing I want to do is shoot myself in the head.
Sure, of course.
But he's a damn good producer. He's a damn good video editor. He really is. Really good at what he does. Everybody at Comeback Studios, part of DDP Yoga, they're all good people. Oh, and look at this. Chad Damiani, Mark Madden, WCW.com. Look at those old monitors, would you? Things have changed tremendously in the 20 years, haven't they?
They have.
Things have changed tremendously in the last 10 years.
Oh, by the way, did you see over the weekend, this past weekend, Hulk Hogan auctioned off his old Hulkamania red and yellow Viper?
Did you bid for it?
I did not.
What did it get?
I think like 80 grand, 75, 80 grand.
Huh.
Went through the Meekum auction and he donated it and he wasn't keeping the money. 100% of the proceeds went to 50 Legs, which I believe helps children get artificial limbs, prosthetics, things
Right.
like that. If you'd like to see more about it, it's 50legs.org online. But yeah, Hogan's car brought like 75 or 80 G's, and that's going to go help kids get prosthetics, and that's pretty cool.
That is cool. How's Hogan doing?
He's great.
That's one of the guys I'd like to reach out to and just to check in on and see how he's doing.
He's with Eric this week, I think. Eric's sort of spent the winter, a lot of the winter, most of November and all of December down in Florida.
Okay.
Not too far from Clearwater Beach, where Hogan has a place on the ocean there.
Right.
Him and the missus have just been staying in an Airbnb because, his kids live down there, his son and daughter-in-law, and it's easy to fly into. So his daughter, who's on the West Coast, can still come see him. And I think some point later in the month, he'll make his way back home, but he's had a really great time down there. So much that he's even thinking about looking at a place, and it's easy to see why. Anybody who's spent any time down there, especially this time of year at his house in Wyoming, it's fucking bitterly cold. Not the case in Clearwater, Florida.
No, Clearwater, Florida would be a good place to live. I've thought, Lois and I have considered moving.
Well, I want to move. You want to move?
You don't want to move.
I do.
Why you want to move? You have the nicest house in all of Huntsville, Alabama.
That's not true.
Oh yeah, it is. As your father-in-law said, the biggest house on the biggest hill in town. Why would you stop it? But Lois and I had considered moving. And then Lois said, nah, I don't want to leave my grandkids.
Well, let's do this. Let's me and you, we'll just leave Lois and Megan to it, and we'll just move out west.
I wouldn't mind moving to Vegas.
I'm in. I swear to you, I'm going to send you some links. I've been looking at houses in Vegas all weekend.
Yeah, I can't afford that stuff, though.
No, you don't have to. You're with me. If you're with me, you wouldn't pay for anything, just like
you're right.
always.
You're right. You just buy 2 houses on the block.
No, not 2 houses, but just get one where you have a wing or a floor.
Okay, that's good enough for me. It's got to be, I don't need stairs because Lois can't get up and down the stairs.
Hey, first of all, if we're doing this together, Lois ain't coming. I ain't signing up for a boss or dog hair.
Well,
and secondly, it would have to have an elevator. Come on.
Yeah.
How are you going to get your party supplies from the top level to the basement?
Mm-hmm. But I always thought that Vegas would be a great place to live.
Well, ask your coworker, John Moxley. He knows. He lives there.
Yeah. I will.
Maybe we'll go look at some places together while we're out there Super Bowl weekend.
I'm not going to be able to move, Conrad. I'm going to be living in this house until I die, and I could die any minute.
Tony, you've got $19 million fucking dollars. What is the holdup? First of
Yeah,
all,
I got $19 million.
I realized that I got finessed by letting you keep all the proceeds from this shit show in order to pay for that wedding. Meanwhile, you're sitting on fucking 8 figures. What's the deal?
I wish I knew, my friend. I wish I knew. This match over yet?
No.
So we're going to move to Vegas, huh?
Why not?
I'll tell you where another place I liked. I liked Arizona a lot too. And Lois said she wouldn't mind moving to San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio.
Yep.
What's up with that?
She's got friends there. It's a big military town. You know, she's really loves the military. And so there you go.
So there you go. What does that mean?
Well, there you go. Well, I don't know. We'll just end up living here. The grandkids have changed everything with us.
What did it change?
Well, Lois really loves her grandkids, and she wasn't really a good grandmother.
Really?
And now, she was a terrible grandmother. Because she always said, I raised 5. Oh, Lordy.
You mean on some bacon? Here comes the bacon.
I'm telling you, she was, during this run, the most beautiful woman in wrestling, I thought.
Well, in 2000, things aren't the same with Tammy Sedge. So it's, I would give you that she's up there.
Yeah. Just beautiful.
It was proven a long time ago, well before yoga, the DDP was a hell of a salesman.
Oh boy.
This is a very much a Vince Russo style storyline.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I want to mention a great close personal friend of the show. Mance Warner had a no rope barbed wire match over the weekend for an independent promotion about an hour outside of Dallas.
Uh-huh.
A Texas no rope barbed wire death match. Where are you at on it, Tony?
Crazy. So in other words, they had no ropes, so they stretched barbed wire around the ring post?
Yeah. So they replaced the ropes with barbed wire. So if you, instead of taking an Irish whip into ropes, you took it into strands of barbed wire.
Did he get like a $50 payoff?
I don't know what the payday of that promotion is, but you do.
The fuck? You don't need to do shit like that. Hey, I like Mance. Great performer. We love Mance.
Oh, did you just Google it and look at pictures?
No.
Oh, you just started yelling, what the fuck? I thought you.
Well, I'm thinking
Dude, the man likes that beef stew at Aldi. That shit ain't gonna pay for itself.
Yeah, and for a $50 payoff, you can get a lot of it. You probably get a month's worth.
I think that promotion pays.
Good.
I think it's like $150.
So is everything else now going to be in the cage? Because here comes the cage, and we got about 40 minutes left in the show.
Next up is a caged heat match with
Caged
The Wall and Billy Kidman.
Jesus.
Meltzer would say, don't ask me to explain the result.
Just cage heat match. You know, the cage was always the blow off of an angle. It meant something big.
This is a blow off. This is the third match in Kidman's matches tonight.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I'm sure that he's been bumped and he's bruised and he's sore, and I'm sure he'll get iced down by Tori later.
Is Tori here now at this point?
I don't think she was. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she was around.
So she was still in WCW?
She started coming to the show as Samantha on the February 11th episode of Thunder. It's in 99.
Okay.
She was brought in by the NWO to seduce David Flair.
David Flair.
Isn't it great? David Flair was real life dating Stacey Kubler, and they bring in Tori Wilson to seduce him. Man, I wish I was a part of this family a long time ago.
And he was, and on this show earlier, he was making out with Daphne. Jesus.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, man, I like Daphne. Daphne was.
Jesus Christ. It's supposed to be a joke, Tony. Take everything so seriously. By the way, Daphne's not a fan of this show.
She's not?
Well, probably just me specifically. Once upon a time, we did a TNA episode with Bruce Pritchard, and I asked Bruce Pritchard about rumors. And I thought he did a fine job shutting them down. She took great offense to what he said. And I guess it's my fault because I didn't have her as a guest on the show. She clearly doesn't listen to the show and know that we don't actually have guests. So whatever. Oh, by the way, I've since put it out on social media that you have a net worth of $19 million. Here's some of the first comments. Dinner's on Schiavone. That sweet, sweet con money. Tony buying the Loki Big Hog 2 a round of shoes. And he still has alligator arms when the check comes. I just looked this up yesterday and even I LOL'd. He is from Virginia though. I need to start Schiavoneing everything. Then the reason for him starting a podcast was a total work. Wonder how long till we see Lois on Real Housewives of Atlanta ranting and raving, drunk and spending Tony's stacks. Clearly this man has been to savewithconrad.com and not one goddamn 6-man belt. It's that sweet AEW money. That was his net worth, but he has since Schiavone'd it. Holy shit. This podcast is the greatest work in the history of our great sport. Big money in the rap game. Hashtag swimming in the dough. If Tony is worth 19 million, then Conrad must be worth at least 70 if he has a fleet of Rolls Royces, which I don't. Worth every fucking dime. I knew it. I hope he's letting you keep all the podcast revenue. The rumor has it that it's just 16.5 million because he spent so much money trademarking the term slapdick. Don't let Lois see this. Can you ask Tony to let me hold $40? Tony might have made that much, but doesn't he have like 5 children? Bet he didn't get to keep any of it. Is dog hair considered currency now? Excuse me while I make a withdrawal from my bank/Roomba. I bought 2 shirts to help this motherfucker pay for his daughter's wedding. I thought he was down on his luck. What a fucking carny worker. That's a lot of glass bottom boat rides. Jesus, how many people are on Patreon now?
Okay.
He probably stuck with the rolls with the cloth interior.
Okay, I get it.
What?
I get it.
Holy shit, they've sold a lot of shirts over at lowestrules.com. Man, I got to get a Patreon. And by the way, somebody Googled Michael Cole net worth.
Yeah.
Turns out he's only worth $4 million. So you're worth you're 5 times.
Yep. Well, Michael should have been doing minor league baseball.
That's where the real money is. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Should have been working at Starbucks. That's where I made it. At Starbucks 401k.
Bruce Pritchard's net worth is between $500,000 and $2 million, according to that same website. So you're worth 10 times what Bruce Pritchard is. Eric Bischoff, by the way, his net worth is $12.5 million. Oh, let's see what Jim Ross says. 4 million, way low.
Nah, it is way low.
Way low. That's what's great to me. Me and you know some of the real numbers of the names we've just floated out there, and they are way off. And then this one way off in the wrong direction.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Jim Ross.
I got to tell him he will LOL at that.
Yeah. Jim Ross.
Here's a great one. Art Anderson's worth $3 million.
Mm-hmm. Jim Ross is a guy at his age that doesn't need to be doing anything. He can ride off into sunset.
He's doing it for the love of the game, baby.
Yes, exactly right. You're exactly right, JR. You're exactly right, Excalibur.
What'd you think of the way they put Bill Cowher and Jimmy Johnson in the Hall of Fame this past weekend?
Oh, I thought it was pretty cool.
That was cool.
I saw when Cowher, when they announced Cowher on TV, had the director of the Hall of Fame come up and.
Did you cry a little?
No. There's very few things make me cry.
Punching the balls was one of them, though. I've seen that.
Yeah, it'll make me scream, but no, emotionally, there's not much that makes me cry. I especially don't cry about somebody getting inducted into a Hall of Fame, even if that person cries.
You know, I want to know, what is Butch Reed's net worth? What do you think? I mean, 'cause this website's been on the money so far. Let's see what this one is. Oh, 100,000 to $1 million. Oh, you know why that is? I forgot to tell you this. He donated his fortune to charity.
Yeah.
He started a hospital years ago after he got that Netflix money, and he named it after his little sister, who he always said was like his saint. You know, she was like an angel looking out for him his whole life. And her name was Jude. You may have heard of it. It's St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then the rumor that I heard about him was wrong. I heard he had started the Kardashians television show and all the Kardashians bilked him out of his money. So that was wrong.
There's a couple of really good jokes there, but on Tessa Blanchard weekend, I can't use any of them. By the way, the Wall's real name, am I saying this right? Jerry Toot?
Yes.
Tuite. Would you call that Toot?
Toot.
I don't know why, but I want that to be my nickname for you from now on, Toot. Cause see, as you know, the Rock and Roll Express, it's Hoot and Punky. Well, why don't we just have you be Toot? So when I hang up, when I get done with you, I'm gonna call Taz and I'm gonna say, hey man, when you see Tony next week,
Call
a
him
big
Toot.
crowd, acknowledge him in a big way. Hey Toot, what's going on, Toot? Toot and Taz. Oh God, that'd be that'd be awesome. Right before he takes your job, when they try it with y'all being together, you could call yourself Toot and Taz. You were there first.
Taz and Toot would be better to me.
No, Toot and Taz.
Put him first.
You're so selfless. How about that Hurricane Rana on the wall?
That's not bad. Shooting Star Press, maybe?
In WCW, at this point, if you could be the Wall or you could be Billy Kidman, who would you be?
What do you think?
Well, I mean, if you're the Wall, you're a giant, so it seems like you're more likely to get pushed. But if you're Billy Kidman, that's it. Big ass choke slam. 1, 2, 3. We're done. 5 minutes and 3 seconds. Kidman's coming off the top, gets caught in a choke slam, pinned. That's a wrap, son.
Think the Wall had any potential?
Well, he died.
Well, I know, but
Oh, you did?
after he's run WCW.
Well, I mean, they tried him in TNA.
Really? What did he wrestle as a TNA?
Toot. No, he was there. He used the moniker Malice.
Okay.
He also did a little bit for All Japan as well.
I always thought that it was one of those guys we misused.
Unfortunately, he died over in Japan, I think. It was a heart attack.
Okay, we're getting ready for Terry Funk and Big Sexy.
It's hard to believe that he passed away at that age too. He was just 36.
Jesus.
Isn't that crazy? Just think, if I would have died at 36, you would have had to go into your own bank account to pay for your daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen, you know?
Well, hang around a little bit longer because I got a grandson to put through college.
Got that sweet, sweet con money now.
No, I'll take a sweet, sweet Conrad money. Thank you.
Are you surprised that Kevin Nash agreed to get branded here?
Yeah, shocked.
We should mention Kevin Nash recently posted a picture of before and after. He had a knee replacement and he realigned his hips, and he's worked very, very hard, obviously working out, but also some stem cell therapy stuff. Totally rehabbed himself. But he basically said the reason he had to retire was he was hobbled from injuries, and showed it before and after with his knees. Did you see that picture?
I didn't see the picture, but I can understand that guy the size he is taking bumps.
Dude, I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to text it to you. I think you will be blown away. I mean, really remarkable, the before and after here.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I'm not kidding. I know you think everything I say on this show is funny, fuckery, but I just sent it to you and I want you to see the before and after. And, you can see it on Kevin Nash's Twitter. If any of you are listening and you'd like to see it, he is at Real Kevin Nash. Throw him a follow there. He's a fun follow, and he's got some big stuff coming, some big movies coming up, but really a remarkable before and after. And I know you're going to be tempted to look at his chest meats, but look at his knees.
No, I'm looking at his knees. His right knee is like bent in.
Yes.
And his left knee is wrapped up, and his weenie is between them.
What's wrong with you? You can't help yourself.
Sorry.
I'm trying to talk about a guy's rehabilitation. You got to go right to the dicks.
But on the right-hand side, the knees are perfect.
Isn't that
They're
remarkable?
perfect.
Dude, it doesn't look the same guy. Like,
no,
if you chopped him off just waist down, you would think, well, these are two totally different humans. There's no way that this is a real before and after, but it is. So shout out to Kevin Nash for pulling the nose up on his physical situation there. I mean, he's always, it's always been something fans made fun of when he tore his quad and all that, but you can see, man, he was really hurting. He was in a bad way. And now with new knees and his hips being realigned and the ability to actually work out, doesn't matter if it's just an upper body business. He looks great here.
Yeah, man, he does.
He's always kept himself in remarkable shape where it looks like at any time he could come out and cut a hell of a promo, but obviously it's not like he's wanting to bump around, but got some big movie stuff in the works. Think he's going to be in a Alec Baldwin movie soon, which is a big deal for him.
That's good. He was always, and we talk so much about him being backstage and, people talking about him being a politician or whatever, but he was always, good God, there went the table. He was always, his persona was really cool.
He is cool
in the ring.
Real life,
and he was really cool backstage too. He was funny. He was really a cool guy to hang out with.
If you're going to go drinking if you could pick like a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers to drink with, Kevin Nash is on that.
Yes, he is. That's a good one. That's a good call.
Phenomenal. So there you see, he power bombs Terry Funk right through the table, the announcer's table. He's got a mic now. I'm going to play that.
You got a lot of heart, old man. You just ain't got no damn common sense. If you crawl back in here, you can keep your commissionership. Come on, if you can crawl back in here, you can keep it.
How about that? If he can crawl back in here and a good look at Terry Funk, and you can better believe he's going to crawl.
Yeah, if Terry Funk is breathing, he's going to do everything within his power to try and get back in to the ring. The commissioner's job is at stake.
I'll let you keep it if you can climb in the ring, old man.
So, of course, this is a hardcore match. The commissionership for WCW is on the line. And now that he's been jackknife powerbombed through the announcer table, Nash throwing it out there. Just crawl in, and I'll let you keep it. See if he does.
Is crawling to get back in the ring. And wait a minute, Nash said he'd let him keep it if he could crawl back in the ring.
I'm a lying son of a bitch.
Boy, is he a...
And now here comes the beatdown. Meltzer would write this up and say, this was a sad one-sided squash match. Funk, who worked that afternoon on a previously arranged booking in Michigan for an indie show, wound up in trouble because of problems at the Cincinnati airport, and there was substantial fear if he'd even make it to the building in time for the match. He put on as good of a performance as would be humanly possible, but there comes a time when it gets really sad to see one of the great performers in history being portrayed as unable to even garner offense in a match that was supposedly his specialty to boot. Nash destroyed him with a few chair shots and powerbombed him through the announcer's table. Funk, who bled on the indie show that afternoon, bladed again, and the fans were booing Funk, which was no surprise based on the storyline portrayals of the characters to the modern audience. Nash was openly mocking Funk as a serious opponent from the beginning and didn't sell any of his offense or take any bumps. With Funk left for dead, Nash said if Funk could get in the ring, he'd let him stay commissioner. Funk crawled in the ring, and Nash said he lied and set up 3 chairs, powerbombed Funk through them for the pin. And don't kid yourself, Funk at 55, with all he's put his body through, feels every blow every bit as bad as you can imagine. To his credit, he carried Nash to his best match in years, 2.5 stars.
Well, how can you call it a squash match and then you say carried a man to his best match in years?
It just shows you the respect that Meltzer has for
I get
Funk,
that,
in my opinion.
Yeah, I get that, but still.
Oh, hey, I forgot to ask. What did you think of Wrestle Kingdom?
I didn't watch it.
Huh?
Did you go over there for it this time?
No. You want to say some words about Jushin Liger calling it a career, or fuck him too?
No, no. Congratulations, Jushin.
I'm sure he's listening.
I'm sure he is too.
But
really, it was a remarkable career, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what did you think of Wrestle Kingdom?
I didn't watch it.
Bullshit.
No, I didn't. I told you. I took the,
you were glued to the fucking set.
I took the wife to the beach for her birthday. You knew this. You think I'm going to say, hey, honey, get in here. We got to watch Tanahashi wrestle.
Yeah, but you got it on,
I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's good. I'll make you watch it when we're in Vegas, because I know you'll want to come in early.
Yeah, boy.
But once Diamond leaves, we'll turn it on.
Diamond Dallas Page is coming?
No, old Mellow Yellow Zero herself.
Oh, stop that. You stop it.
What?
Stop.
Okay.
Stop talking about that. Let's go back to the match. This is a wrestling podcast.
Oh.
Okay. And you keep talking about shit like that, my net worth will go down.
Did you have a comment about the Titans beating not only Tom Brady and the Patriots, but Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
Amazing. I didn't see that one at all. We got a guy that works at for DDP, Dylan, and Dylan, good guy.
Big
He predicted both of them. He was right on. He said the Titans are going to go to the AFC Championship game. I went, bullshit. He said, no, they are. So there you go. And I guess all you Bama fans are Derrick Henry crazy again, aren't you?
No, I've always loved Derrick Henry, but I can't stand the Titans. I don't give a shit how close I live to Nashville. Fuck them.
Huh.
And if you're listening and you're mad about that, fuck off.
Yeah. You know why I don't like the Tennessee Titans?
Why?
Because they are Justin Timberlake's favorite team.
You hate Justin Timberlake?
Oh, with a passion.
Seriously.
Dude.
Are you jealous because he got some of that Britney meat?
No, you've never heard my Justin Timberlake story?
No.
Come on, I've told it on this podcast.
Well, I was zoned out.
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
When NSYNC was hot, in the 90s, NSYNC's marketing people, publicist people, whatever they are. Watch this. Let's take a look at this power bomb here. Fuck him up. Jesus
55-year-old Terry Funk. Look at the crowd.
Yeah. Kevin also said thank you to him too.
Count to 1,000. Anyway, NSYNC.
So in the 90s, my daughter was a big NSYNC fan. Laurie was the one that you so graciously got a marriage dinner for. And so she was a big NSYNC fan. So we got her tickets, and her friends, two of her friends, and I went to the Lakewood Amphitheater here in Atlanta to see NSYNC. But we also, because we knew people, were able to go backstage for the meet and greet. And at the meet and greet, there's a table. NSYNC is sitting there. There are big security guys there in line, and each girl goes through with a picture, and each member of NSYNC signs it. The first one at the table was Justin Timberlake. And then it went on down the line. Timberlake had a baseball cap on. He put his baseball cap down to as far as he could without putting it over his eyes. He kept his head down, and he signed every autograph and they just moved it over to the left. Side didn't even look up. Did not acknowledge any of the girls, any of their parents. Moved it down. As we moved on down the line, Lance Bass and the other guys looked up. How you doing? Thanks for coming. Good to see you. How you doing? Thanks for coming. Good to see you. Very nice. Timberlake, who is the fucking star of the fucking show, was the Hulk Hogan of NSYNC, ignored each and every girl, wouldn't even look up. I wanted to say, but there was this big security guy next to him. I wanted to say, fuck you, you piece of shit kid. Look at these kids who are paying your fucking salary. I was so fucking hot. And to this day, I haven't gotten over it. My daughter has. I said, Dad, it's okay. I mean, it was Justin Timberlake. I said, fuck him. Fuck him. And to this day, fuck him. I feel better now.
Do you think he may have just had a bad day?
No, I haven't had a bad. He had a bad day. Fuck him and his bad days. Have your bad day when the concert's over.
Hang on now.
Fuck him. And thus, fuck the Tennessee Titans because he's a fan of them.
He's also a big fan of All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit.
You're saying that he wouldn't be
bull fucking shit.
You think
he'd have you know wrestling exists?
How about the big gold belt there?
That's something else, isn't it? How about a skinny Arn Anderson?
Arn Anderson's a big Timberlake fan.
Scott Hudson may be.
I was told that Scott Hudson actually tried out for NSYNC.
I'm sure he had a great singing voice. He would have had to put a toupee on. Love baseball movies, right? Love baseball movies. Trouble with the Curve, wanted to see it. Guess what? Justin Timberlake was in it. Didn't fucking watch it. You've heard me tell that story before.
Yeah.
Now you wanted to get my blood pressure up again because of that. Despise that motherfucker.
I love that you're mad that you didn't get your value in something you didn't pay for.
And that's not it. That is not it.
You snuck into something that you were supposed to pay for and you didn't. And then you're like, I didn't get my money's worth.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
That's exactly what you said.
No. You're missing the point here.
Okay.
Missing the point is don't fuck with my daughter.
He didn't. That's the thing. He didn't fuck with her at all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Don't piss her off.
Did you see over the weekend, since you don't want to talk about the negative stuff, that Tessa Blanchard is now the world champion for Impact?
Really?
Yeah. I guess technically it happened in Lucha Underground, but that wasn't on a lot of people's radar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she beat Sami Callihan for the big belt. She beat a dude for the dude belt, the big dude belt.
Didn't we know that was going to happen?
Yeah. It's sort of like when you start a hero movie, like, oh man, Will Smith is estranged from his wife and she's dating a new guy, and it's really put a strain on his relationship with his daughter. There's aliens coming to end the world. Fuck. I hope he can manage to dodge that and put things back together with his wife. And most importantly, repair that relationship with the baby. Fast forward 2 hours. Oh, I've seen this movie. So it's the same thing with Tessa. They beat her with the idea that she was going to go over. And then, well, some things happened this weekend, and some of the things I think you would be into, but I don't think you want me talking about here on the show.
No, I'd rather you stay away from it. But I mean, for some reason I had heard that they were going to put the belt on Tessa. We'd heard that months ago.
Yes. That's been the plan for a while. And this is like their big pay-per-view. So they had to build, they weren't just going to do it. You know, they wanted to make the most of it and put it on a big show. So they did.
Mm-hmm. So it was on Lucha Underground?
No. It's on Impact.
Okay. What was the Lucha Underground reference then? What did I miss there?
Let me try speaking. And if you could listen. All right.
Okay. I
said, it's the first time that a woman has won the big belt for a wrestling promotion. Normally it's reserved for men, you know, the world heavyweight champion. And then there's a women's division. Well, a woman won the men's belt in Lucha Underground a few years ago, but it wasn't on a lot of people's radar.
Okay. Got it.
But outside of that, this is the first time. So technically the second, but
you got it.
How about Sid? He's on all kinds of cocaine here.
How about he and Arn in the ring?
Can you imagine if you're Sid and you're like, all right, so we want you to go out there and put over this 5'9" guy, and Arn's going to be the referee. You're going to be thinking, what the fuck? What? They put Arn in there just in case, you know, he changes his mind, doesn't want to put him over. He'll just stab him. By the way, I had a conversation with my daughter the other day. We took her to see Knives Out during the holidays.
Yes. Right.
And, she asked me on the ride after, she said, Dad, what kind of noise would it make if you really stab somebody? I said, what? She's like, well, would there be a noise? Like when you shoot somebody, there's like a big gunshot. It makes a big noise. Would there be a noise if you stab somebody? I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, what would it sound like? And so I said, well, like if you were like stabbed 3 times, she's like, sure. I was like, stab, stab, stab. And she's like, the noise is the word stab. I'm like, yep. And she's like, well, I mean, if you like hit an organ and blood started coming out, what would that sound like? I'm like, blood, blood, blood. It's like, so hypothetically, if we stabbed a guy on our ride home, I was like, oh yeah, stab, 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 blood, blood, blood. She quit asking me questions like that.
You're a hell of a dad.
Well, I mean, you know, I get you. Want to know. Here's the deal. Here's just between my daughter and your daughter. Mine met Justin Timberlake.
I mean, and he probably was nice to her.
Oh, got a bunch of selfies. There's a framed picture of them meeting each other on her dresser in her bedroom.
Well, just let me say about Justin Timberlake can selfie this. Okay. What type of match is this going to be a good match?
Hell yeah, it is. It's, Meltzer would say it's the second best match Sid ever had. You saw his best match against Shawn Michaels at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
So here's the write-up. Chris Benoit beat Sid Vicious to win the WCW Queen for a Day trophy in 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Michael Buffer in the ring intros said Benoit was 6 feet tall, which is sort of funny. And then he said Sid was 6'11", which is just as funny. WCW created a very good atmosphere in trying to make this seem important. Benoit got most of the offense, and Vicious even let Benoit chop him. And Benoit worked on Vicious's knee, and the fans were strongly into Vicious, even though Benoit kept the offense most of the way, combining moves like German suplexes and even a heel hook submission. Benoit did the diving headbutt for a near fall. Vicious came back with the choke slam, but Benoit's foot was under the ropes. And then Benoit put the crossface on, but Vicious tapped while his foot was under the ropes. The pop for the win by Benoit was disappointing, but the post-match interview by him more than made up for it. 2 3/4 of a star.
Okay.
We should mention that, having his foot under the rope allegedly is something that WCW's office told Sid to do. Hey, make sure when this happens, you've got your foot under the rope. They want to leave themselves an out in case things went sideways with Benoit, who tried to quit the promotion earlier this same day. Imagine if that were to happen today. Well, a guy's unhappy, tried to quit. What'd you do? Made him the champ. Okay.
Do you think Benoit knew that the foot was going to be under the rope?
I don't think he cared.
Okay. Sid chomping on that gum, isn't he? I always thought if you chewed gum like that, it made you look like a fucking goof.
Would you say he looks like a goof to his face?
Nope. Just talking about the chawing of the gum. Slapping them jaws together.
You think we're going to get somebody to slap them jaws together for you out in Vegas?
I'm not going now.
Why?
Because I know what's going to happen.
What?
It's just fodder for shit on this podcast.
Well, I didn't think you were really going anyway. You won't come to my fucking house. Now you're going out there.
Diamond in you. Another yellow zero.
By the way, everybody listening to this knows nothing happened. It's all funny. Ha ha. Sort of like you and Dean Malenko. Actually, the opposite of you and Dean Malenko. That's real. It's as real as your $19 million net worth.
Listen, nothing happened between me and Dean Malenko, but had it happened, I would have shoved that little motherfucker in the ground, but nothing did.
Somebody tell Dean that. I'm sure Jeff Jones, you listen to this show. When you see Dean Malenko, you let him know that on this very show, and timestamp it, Tony Schiavone said he was going to whip Dean Malenko's little ass.
I did not say that.
He called him a cruiser height agent. That's what he said. PWI 500 this, you sawed off little fuck. That's what he said. That's what he said.
What are all these fuckers coming out for?
They want to see the world champion.
Watch on the fucking monitor in the back like everybody else does.
They're trying to make it feel like a big deal.
Okay.
I think Ric Flair's son David is out there just doing the rat pivot, trying to see, hey, I got Stacy Keibler, I got Tori Wilson. Anything else worth having here in Ohio? My dad, by the way, would laugh at this.
At what?
Sid and Benoit.
Big man, little man type thing?
Oh, shit. What's this little motherfucker gonna do? That big son bitch has got pumpkin shoulders. Ain't nobody fucking with him. Hell, if he wanted to, he'd hold you down and fuck you up the ass. What you gonna say about it? Nothing. If they cellmates, we know who's on top and who's on bottom. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he's right in the way. In the real world, there ain't no way that nobody could beat this fucker, right? Look at him.
I don't know. Arn Anderson might disagree. All he needs is a fucking pencil.
Watch out, he's behind you. There he goes. Off the back. Sid still make the circuits anymore? Does he sign autographs, any stuff like that?
He shows up occasionally. I saw a picture of him. A friend of the show sent me. And they told me the picture was taken in 2016. Dude.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, he's aged.
No, he's still a big motherfucker is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he's aged.
He looks older in the face, but he was wearing a shirt in the photo I saw of him. He was standing in front of this jacked up truck, and I was like, God damn, that's still a big bastard.
Yeah, well. He was a big bastard.
I still think in a fight, not now, not present day, but back then, I still think I'd have been on the Arn Anderson side of things in a real fight.
Yeah.
I think Arn Anderson will pull your goddamn eyeball out.
Right. It's kind of like if Paul Orndorff and Vader had a real fight, who would you go with?
Right. You would think it would be Vader, but we know different.
We know different. Right. This is good. I like this. Drop kicking the stairs onto the knee. Good story. Good story here. And there's been a lot of that through the history of our great sport.
Oh no.
But there's been a lot of that. And JR be the first one to tell you, the first guy that was small and everybody thought they could fuck with was Danny Hodge. And Danny Hodge whipped your ass. But he was small and he was overlooked a lot. But when it came to a shoot fight, Danny Hodge was all that. That in the history of our great sport. Pro wrestling. It's great to see Arn Anderson a part of AEW now.
Absolutely. He's the coach of Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, and he's looking very Mike Dick out there with the vest on and the shirt and the tie and the clipboard. And I like it. I'm glad to see that, 3 of my 5 podcast co-hosts are on Wednesday nights now on TNT.
Glad to hear that Eric's doing well.
I didn't say anything about Eric.
Well,
but I mean, he's hanging out in Florida. So,
well, that seemingly that's doing well. And has the movie started shooting yet?
No.
Okay. He's still involved in that, isn't he?
Of course.
Yeah. So he's doing all right.
We should mention that, tomorrow night, Tony Schiavone is going to be doing a live chat on Patreon. And they're going to play another round of Gordon Soley Pro Wrestling Trivia for a cool prize. Check it out at patreon.com/WHW Monday. You get to chat with Tony. Lots of fun stuff coming up, including the big low key, big hog get together. It's going down April 24th through the 26th in Huntsville, Alabama. And, our pal Efren, I'm sure, has got like 14 different outfits to wear that week.
Yeah, we look forward to being in Huntsville, and we look forward to some Gordon Soley trivia. Got a great, as I said earlier, got a great prize to the champion. I like the story that they're telling here in this match, in that, working on the leg, get the big man down, dragging the screw, leg whip. As Mike Tenay probably shouted out.
Oh, did you see over the weekend? I'm sure you didn't, but, your great close personal friend, Selena De La Renta, posted a video of her pulling down her sunglasses and cutting eyes. And she says, "Where would you like to see me this year?" And I quoted it and I said, "At the Schiavone family picnic." And Matt Schiavone immediately replied and said, "I guess I'm going this year."
Yeah. I love me some Selena De La Renta.
What do you think about, your friends, Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, doing an LJN special here at the Conradison and hooking up, Silva's kids with a bunch of swag?
That is tremendous. Two great men there. Ryder and Hawkins. Zack Ryder's a great story.
And Kurt Hawkins helped show your man MJF a thing or two about a thing or two.
Hey, You think? Do you know? I know you've done some things with. Look at this. Wow, nicely done. I know you know Zach quite well. I'm getting a lot of Batman toys and figures.
Yeah.
Should you take them out of the box?
He does. He believes in letting them breathe.
Good, because that's what I've been doing too. And as I'm taking
the people who keep them in the box think that they're going to be worth something one day, and I get that. But that's back before people knew to keep them in the box. But now that everybody knows to keep them in the box, they're all in the box. So it's not so special that it's in the box if they're all in the box to begin with. So
I understand now.
Box. Give them a fig bath. What Zach does is Zach gets ass naked.
This is a little bit too much information, but go ahead.
He gets ass naked and he coats himself in orange paint. Now he calls it self-tanner, but we know different. And once he's completely pumpkined out, then he'll take a shower, wash off the excess orange paint, and then he'll pour a big bath. And it's a bubble bath of sorts. And I know what you're thinking. He's probably doing it for his beautiful fiance, Chelsea. Nay. He's doing it so him and Big John Studd can have some alone time. He might invite Hercules Hernandez, might see what Freddie Blassie's doing, might make it a party. And his palatial estate there in Orlando.
Boy, this fucking conversation is really turning weird.
No, he gets ass naked and takes baths with his figures. We had a whole conversation about it. Hey, speaking of weird, friend of the show, Bad Money Slim's daughter turned 18 over the weekend.
Really?
You think we can get her to Low-Key Big Hog Weekend?
I hope not.
Why?
Why would we want an 18-year-old girl to see all the shit that we do?
I just thought it would be fun. She could be like our cheerleader or something.
No, I think we ought to stay. I have a feeling that on a Low-Key Big Hog Weekend, that Adam DeMoy, also known as Turd Head.
All right. Okay. I'm in. I didn't know there was a nickname, Turd Head.
Yeah, Turd Head. That's who he is. Okay. He knows it. Okay.
Got it.
I'm sure his wife Kisa is gonna join us. She was there last time. She's one of my favorite people. I can't believe she married that fucker, but I have a feeling that she's gonna be there. But other than Kisa being there, and maybe Stoner Dale, if he can get Misty to come, I don't know. Other than that, probably just guys. Don't want any teenagers there. It's a guy thing, you know? Makes sense?
Well, Tim and Angel were there last time and they had fun.
Yeah, they did.
By the way, I heard through the grapevine that the summer suit is no more. So apparently Tim is no longer wearing
the summer suit,
a jacket and shorts with my face all over it.
Well, then probably you could buy them and put them up in your Conradison.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. You collect shit.
I'm not collecting Tim's summer suit, bro.
Well, I don't know what you collect. I can't, I may say, oh, you wouldn't want to collect that, but then you may. So I don't know. I just, knowing you're a collector, I thought that maybe you would want to collect Tim's summer suits that he no longer wears. I didn't know. Just trying to help out here. I mean, I know you like to collect belts.
So the big gold belt and Tim's fucking summer suit, same?
Nope. Not same at all. But it's memorabilia. You look at that summer suit with your face on and you remember what a fucking knucklehead he was. That's what memorabilia is about. Memories.
I'm trying to leave the memories alone.
Okay.
By the way, we should mention there's some great shirts over at lowestrules.com. If you haven't already, check them out because, there's some funny ones that we've thrown up there lately. I'm a big fan of the Butch Reed facts. I also like the bat winging. I think the old Starcade 84 that says Schiavone 84 is pretty good.
I like that.
The new one this week is we talked about for Christmas, cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
And you said, I want the goop. You want cranberry sauce that's shaped like the can.
Right.
And we have a shirt that says, I want that goop. And it's got the shape of cranberry sauce right out of the can in the background. This is going to be perfect. You got to check that out. And don't forget, Hire Mance Warner is still a shirt, and we're still hoping that we can get him hired from a major wrestling company. He's paid his dues on these independents, but it's time he gets a big league deal. So if you're a wrestling promoter, help us get Mance Warner hired.
We haven't put You a Lie on a shirt yet.
Look at that choke slam. No, but Ryan is listening to the show, and he'll probably crank one out by the time this one posts. And there you go. Benoit has his foot under the ropes. So we've established that if your foot is under the ropes, that Arn will stop the count. So well thought out, well done here. You got to think Benoit knew what was coming about. We're going to leave the foot under the rope for Sid if that's the setup. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep. Crippler crossface. He's tapped.
And of course,
so there's the foot on the rope.
And he's kicking it just to make sure it's obvious. Get a tight shot of it on the camera. Trash coming into the ring. The fans here in Cincinnati, they wanted to see Sid win. And there's not a lot of happy faces in that crowd right now. They were expecting Bret Hart and Sid. Instead, they got Benoit and Sid. People see him as a mid-carder here. So it looks from the trash and the lack of reaction and the sort of shocked face. They're trying their best to get it over though, but he doesn't care. He's going to Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
You're underwhelmed by this, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. But you said the interview that he did afterwards was good.
I did say that.
So we should probably listen into it.
Dave Meltzer said that.
No, Meltzer said that.
What everybody else is going to enjoy is the Royal Rumble next week, 1992. Flair wins it all, wins the big belt. It's hard to believe.
And that was how long was that after Flair left? Well, I know we'll talk about it next week.
He won it in January of 92. He left y'all in July of 91.
Okay, so 6 months or so.
Oh, big power moves. And telling the story, as you said, Benoit trying to get him off that vertical base. Everybody's the same height when they're laying down. I know that's what you've told a lot of taller women as you tried to bet them.
Whoa.
When was the last time you tried to bet a tall lady?
77. Was dating this girl in Virginia. Loved her. Susan. She was an Amazon.
I feel like you're being moved back in time right now. You're like in a moment right now.
Yeah, I am. I miss Susan. She was a good girl.
I don't know if you saw, but over the weekend, Marshawn Lynch gave some advice at a press conference. After the Seahawks game, he says, take care of y'all bodies, take care of y'all chicken, take care of y'all mentals. Mentals. Of course, he said that on the way out after the Seahawks lost to the Packers. 28-23. Quite the weekend for the playoffs. Not a lot of stuff I expected.
The Chiefs' comeback was spectacular. I was in downtown Atlanta, and I stopped by a restaurant to get something to eat after I dropped Lois off. And it was 24-0 when I walked out, and I got home. It was 28-24. I'm thinking, fuck, what a comeback.
Yeah, huge delta in that game. Chiefs win by 20 points, and the Packers win by 5 points, and Titans win by 16 and 49ers win by 17. Next week, man, it's down to the nut cutting time.
But it will be not as exciting as what you can see on TNT on Wednesdays, 8:00 Eastern, 7:00 Central. Dynamite.
Here's the end of the promo here.
And I proved tonight, it's not what you don't have, it's what you have that matters. And this is what it's all about. The world heavyweight title.
You know, it's a, whoa, what, Arn Anderson, I'm not a referee. It's a very emotional moment for me. Sid Vicious is all man. He's more man than most anybody on this planet. There was no prejudice out there, but I just want to congratulate you because I think of everybody out there. You've earned this. No reflection on Sid Vicious. I just want to congratulate you. Tell you, I'm proud to be part of WCW. You and Sid both made that happen.
Thank you very much, Arn. It's an honor.
You know, whoa, wait a minute.
As new commissioner, I just want to say something here, Mr. Canadian Hero, that enjoy that belt for another hour and 40 minutes. Because at the stroke of midnight, your life becomes a living hell. And you know what? That belt belongs to the NWO, and we're getting it back. Sorry to put a little turd in your punch bowl there, buddy.
Talking about the fact that he's going to be the new commissioner, Chris Benoit.
Well, from the little turd to the big turd, best of luck.
All right,
So Chris Benoit's last words in WCW are from the little turd to the big turd. Good luck.
Wow.
What a way to go out of WCW. Little turd talk. By the way, we're doing a lot of turd talking over here at the mortgage company. Did you know about this?
No, I didn't.
We're helping people get out of shitty deals and into better deals. We're doing that pretty routinely. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket. But if you're stuck with some Christmas credit card debt, maybe you're thinking it might be time to start planning for your New Year's resolutions to save some money or get out of debt. First Family Mortgage can hook you up right now at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even credit scores in the 500s can qualify, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments. And of course, if you've got credit card debt, you know it's an outrageous interest rate, and that interest is not tax deductible. The interest you pay on a mortgage is tax deductible, so you get a much cheaper rate, and most importantly, get out of debt faster. I'm talking to you. If you're in a 30-year loan, we can help you pay your house off faster and do it with cheaper monthly payments. We routinely help our podcast listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. And we can do it for you too. We're licensed in more than 40 states. And if we can't save you some cash, we won't waste your time. So it's no cost, no obligation. What are you waiting for? Go to savewithconrad.com right now. You'll be glad you did. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender, but it's savewithconrad.com. And coming up next week, Royal Rumble 1992. But for now, Tony Schiavone, looks like it's about that time.
It is about that time, and from Toot and Taz, I want some of that goop. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. We're on Westwood 1 each and every Monday for our friends, our comrades, our followers, our buddies. We are on
Patron.
And Nitro, New World Order, and the Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette, Champ, Vinnie, Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules can't pass. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zig's a good look.